Hello everybody, welcome to our bonus podcast for this week, and it may be Valentine's week for all of you guys out there, but we are not feeling the love in here. This is the Bobbins Awards 2025, even though it's 2 months, well, how much I'm into 2026, I'm a month and a half into 2026. Hello, I'm Michael. Gemma, who are you?
I'm Gemma.
Thought you were.
But we're here with love to make fun of things.
Yeah,
we only do it because, look, if anyone else did this, we'd get mad. You know,
yes,
if
we're allowed.
EastEnders podcast did slagging off Coronation Street for 2 hours, we'd be like, fight you.
We would. Gemma, what is the Bobbins Awards?
I don't
Just
know.
for any newbies out here.
I don't know if I would fight anybody over
This isn't... Well, what's the Bobbins Awards for you?
Bobbin Awards is just when we go, that was silly, wasn't it? Here you go. Never mind. Here's a prize. Have a
Because,
present.
believe it or not, sometimes Coronation Street is not perfect. I know.
Well, listen, that might seem like terrible slander, but we're both stupid, aren't we?
Oh, what?
All the time, we're very stupid, and we think it's quite adorable to be stupid.
It's sometimes good to point out the faults of someone or something in a constructively critical way. And that's what we're doing today.
You can help people grow,
Yes.
can't you? By going, nah, you idiot.
Yeah. And
This isn't a Theo Award. This isn't like we're not coercively controlling Coronation Street by telling them that they're wrong and then love bombing them. I don't know what we're doing. I don't really know what we're doing, but
we've been doing it a long time now, and everyone says that they love it. So,
maybe this relationship
can't really stop now.
isn't healthy anymore. But
sometimes it's just good to get things off your chest, and that's what we're going to be doing. We, you know, as I say, we are.
This is more like therapy, isn't it?
We are 6 or 7 weeks. We are into 2026, but we've had a busy start to the year, but we couldn't let the year go past without Bobbins.
Can you imagine if the Coronation Street crew? And creative team got to do one for us. Well, they sometimes they do message us and go, well, what are you doing?
Occasionally. Now, if you're wondering, hang on a minute, I didn't see any votes for the Bobbins Awards. I didn't get a chance to have my say and stick my knife in Coronation Street's back. What's gives, Gemma?
It's not a gang fight.
No, it's just us against it.
Yeah, it's more like David and Goliath, and
we don't want to encourage.
We're David.
We don't want to encourage ill feeling towards Coronation Street. So this is just us, and we haven't even decided the winners yet. The Bobbins Awards is we have a bit of a chat about our categories, and we have got one new category this year. More on that later. And we're just going to kind of pick it as we go.
In fun, isn't it? It's just moaning in fun.
Yes.
Don't take it seriously. It's just a laugh.
It is.
It's not like for truly serious gripes, is it?
I don't.
Because we sometimes we air those as we go.
Well, we'll just have to see where the evening takes us.
This isn't the allegations podcast.
Right. With that disclaimer out of the way. We are going to kick off our first award of the evening, which is the Do One, New One Award.
Oh, this is mean.
These
are all really mean.
You've just been saying that this isn't mean.
Look,
this is where we look at the characters that were introduced
characters
into the show in the past 12 months and say which one needs
more
work.
This isn't about the actors at all, because these actors...
to bring my cup of tea in. Oh, man, okay.
Oh, you better go and get it in a second.
Well,
I'll say something. You can go and
I'll go and get my tea. Gemma, you explain this.
Well, we're not... Look, the actors are doing what they can, and some of these roles are just not fun to watch. But actually, I don't know how this has happened, but all of the ones we have on the list of people that we don't like as new characters are men.
I'm back. I've got my tea.
The guys are not really holding their own this year. These are all new characters that have been introduced in the last year, and we think that some of them are a bit...
This is true, but I mean,
not fun to watch.
A lot of the new characters last year were men. That's just the way it was.
Exactly. But a lot of them are also villains. You know, you got Mick, you got Theo, you've got Carl, and Brody also, to a certain extent, came in as a villain, and even Will. I mean, we've had many debates, very spirited debates about Will and why he is the way he is. God bless him, but he's not the funnest.
We could throw some women into the mix here if we like. I mean, I'm sure some people would be wanting to put Becky Wright up for nomination for this, and Maggie. She didn't go down well with a lot of people, did she? But unfortunately, we quite liked them, both of them, and so I don't know.
What's her face?
Who?
Megan.
Oh yeah, Megan. Megan, totally. So for me particularly, those aren't really on the table. I very much enjoyed watching.
Who did you say you like, Maggie and
Becky?
Yeah.
I love Becky and her chaos, and I think Maggie. I get that people have got some gripes with her.
Yeah, so we've got like the shortlist we've got here is Mick, so that's the new neighbour along with Lou. Mm-hmm. We've got Theo, who is the evil boyfriend of Todd. We got Brody, who is now 17.
Child of Kit / Mick.
And Bernie's grandkid. We got Carl, who is the evil bisexual brother / son of Debbie.
Yes. Well, this is 2025. He's definitely still in brother territory. We
say he's definitely bisexual. Ollie, who is there, isn't he? And Will, he's also there. Now, I've got a strong contender here. Right?
Who? Go on. Who would you go
This
for?
is because the role has been limited. The role is not expansive whatsoever, and the person who's
you're saying Ollie, aren't you?
Yeah, the person who's acting this is doing his best, absolute best, to make this character something. But Ollie is just.
He even had a head start over the other Driscolls,
and
didn't
he? Was
he?
So
they brought him in
rude
back in the summer, and
today.
I still don't feel like by the end of 2025 I really knew much about him, other than he kind of gets a bit narked about fake truffle oil.
We're recording this on the 12th of February, and he was audacious enough to suggest that Will doesn't have a personality.
That was great in today's episode.
When Ollie, like, the way they're writing for him, honestly, sometimes he has a personality and sometimes he doesn't.
Yeah,
but I don't think food is a personality.
He kind of came in as a bit of a, what's his mystery? No, he didn't.
He didn't.
No, he didn't really, did he? He gained a mystery after a few months, and then it kind of dissipated away when the Driscolls came in and he goes, hello, I'm one. And I suppose that was a nice little twist that people didn't necessarily see coming. I like that. That's a point for Ollie. But I think for a lot of last year, for the half of the year that he was in the show, he was just kind of the safe but nice boyfriend of Dee Dee. That was just a nice little come down from Joel, because he's no serial. No, Joel wasn't a serial killer, was he? But he's no.
No, he was a victim.
He was no big villain like Joel was.
He was attacked.
But yeah, I think they forgot to kind of give him much of a personality.
It's not consistent. He does have a personality. I just wish that they would pick something that isn't just an interest. Like, what is his personality? Because today he kind of went to Rowan like, duh. Like, but that doesn't feel like an Ollie thing. But there's no... What do you think an Ollie thing to say is? Except for, like, I hate truffle oil.
I don't know. And I feel that this far into it, and again, we really need to be careful that we're not judging the past 6 or 7 weeks as best as we can for any of
the
this.
whole of this.
But we're looking at when he came in last summer up until Christmas, and it feels like by the time we reached Christmas, we knew an awful lot more about the rest of the Driscolls, and love them or hate them, than we did Ollie, who, like I said, had a real head start. I think that Will is a contender, but because is the lack of personality enough? If there's a personality and it rubs you up the wrong way, which I'm afraid I would say that is the case with Will. Like, I think I'd say I don't really like Will, but with Ollie, I'd be like, I'm struggling to find anything to like about him or not like. I'm ambivalent towards the chap.
Do you think that if you picked Will, you'd feel like you were picking on a kid?
Oh no, it's fine. It's absolutely fine to pick on Will. He's a big boy now. He's okay.
I just can't do it. I can't do it to Will. And honestly, the rest of the 4, Mick, Theo, Brody and Carl, Mick, Theo and Carl have all had very strong stories, which maybe they're one-trick ponies. Mick certainly, you could argue, because he's gone already. But yeah, maybe they are. But at least they're doing something. Whereas I really don't know about even Brody. But that, again, it's the role they've been given. It's the writing. It's the character. It's the stories.
So this is called Do One New One Award, and it is only the one out of all of these nominees that we're saying we want to say do one the most. Because I tell you what, I spent an awful lot of 25 wanting to say do one, or saying do one to Carl. I wanted him right out of Weatherfield. It's like, get on that plane to Germany, mate. We don't want you here. He was an irritant to me throughout the year. Yes, I get that he was a more important character and there are more dramatic moments with him, but he just really wound me up throughout a lot of the year. But I suppose I'm more invested in
Right,
watching him.
so-
Brody, and this is another one because I think that Ryan Welby, who plays him, is a really strong actor, and he's clearly done some great work in Hollyoaks before as well. But he came in as a bad lad in the prison. He was he was beating Dylan up or tricking him and stuff, and getting Sean to bring in the cigarettes or whatever. No, what was he getting Sean to smuggle in? I don't remember. It was money or phone or I don't know what. And then we're like, I know he's come out of prison now. He's actually a nice guy, and I think it's kind of rubbing me up the wrong way a little bit with Brody that we're forced to just forgive and forget everything that happened in prison. And for me, another teen boy on the street just doesn't fill me with that much excitement. And it's weird how you say that sometimes with teenagers, because it was like, it's another guy in their 30s, or it's another 20-year-old woman. I don't have
because
that.
the storylines are very similar, because teenagers in any walk of life are at a certain point in their lives when they are developing who they are and finding out, and navigating life. And Coronation Street is supposed to be stories about working class people, and there's a lot of problems with white working class youth boys struggling with their identities and lashing out in violence and that kind of thing. It is, but the trouble is that this comes off the back of many cookie cutter kids of the same.
Yeah, like Mason, like Corrie.
Yeah. If Brody had been the first, maybe I would have felt differently about him. But because he's like the third, who feels like they were all written in the exact same way, and each actor brings their own different spin on it.
Yeah, he's not exactly the same as them at all.
But if you gave Brody's lines to Mason and you gave Mason's lines to, would it make a difference? I don't know. It feels like they were all written the same way.
It does a little bit, and I feel that Brody, they're really not really using that much or wanting to develop too much. They had the whole thing with, oh look, he's Kit's secret son, and I don't particularly like Kit anyway. So those scenes already were on the had a lot to do to enamour me to him, and it just didn't work so much. And I'm. Is he going out with Betsy? Is he? No, maybe yes. I don't know. Is he? I do like that Brody has got a bit of a protective thing with his sisters. That's a nice little string to his bow. But yeah, so far, and he's been in the show for a year or so now. That's long enough for me to have been able to form a bit of a better opinion of him, and I haven't quite yet.
Can you really complain about Mick when he's done one?
No, I think Mick has done one. He wasn't very pleasant at all, was he? But he's gone. He's made his mark. I mean, I've got a list of suggestions here, but we don't even need to include them as nominees if we don't want to. I certainly don't think that Mick's here, and for sure Theo. I mean,
Mick's here.
Mick should be even really discussed on the same level as some of the other ones here, and Theo we've not mentioned at all yet. I've written him down, but no way is Theo going to win this for me.
Well, they're
because
driving or have driven very crucial storylines, and Ollie's a weak link here, and it's a shame because actually I would really like them to develop his character. I think he's got potential. He's very unique because he feels like he could be a nerd, like a proper nerd. Like he's got this very quiet, unassuming air. He's a bit socially awkward, like saying "duh" to Lauren. Doesn't really get what chalk and cheese with Lauren. But tease that out a bit more because.
So if you're saying that you want to see his character develop, are you saying you don't want him to do one?
I just don't think somebody else. I don't think they're doing it. I think they'll be content. Honestly, I feel like Ollie's going to be just bumbling along.
Okay, well, I mean,
you tell me.
No. I mean, I'll happily go with Ollie if you want to. I think with Ollie, if he were to just pop out of existence one day, or isn't seen on screen for a little while, and then he gets bobbied and said, "Oh no, he's not coming back." I don't think I would be shedding too many tears.
I think you would pick if you were left to your own devices, you would pick Carl.
I probably would, but then equally, Carl I see as a character who's got a shelf life, and if I were to wave my magic wand over one of these characters and puff them out of existence, then it's like, well, Carl's already on that trajectory, and I don't think Ollie is at the moment.
But it feels like you're supposed to be wishing for his demise, so maybe we should
wish
for his demise.
Well, we can if we want to. I think lots of people, we kind of glossed over Theo and said, well, no way, it's him. I know that there's going to be lots of people who saying, get rid of him. I can't stand him. He makes my skin crawl. This story needs to end now. And I'm still not feeling that. I totally get that. This is not working and people are finding it really super uncomfortable because James is doing a brilliant job in the role of Theo. But no, I'm certainly not saying do one to him. Let's go with Ollie. We'll go with Ollie.
I think
it's a character that's just not worked so far for me.
Yeah, okay.
And I'm happy for it to not.
No, I feel mean. I want maybe Carl. Let's change it to Carl.
No, we'll keep it with Ollie. Give it to Ollie. You stick with the courage of your convictions, Gemma.
I just don't think that. The thing is, Carl has now been revealed to be Debbie's son, and I don't think we thought that last year.
Yeah, it had been discussed that on the podcast because the rumours, like the clickbait articles, had come out in autumn, and we'd like, no, don't be silly. That's ridiculous.
It doesn't matter anyway because this isn't comprehensive. Nobody's going to get an award.
Exactly. That's why I don't need to feel guilty about it.
You're not going to get like
everyone
picture.
Taking good fun. Right, that's our first award of the night, Gemma. What we got next?
Grey Hoodie Award for the crappiest villain. These villains are like, what was that about?
The Corrie has got a bit of an issue, and I saw I can't remember whether it was on Reddit or Digital Spy. I saw somebody posting about this today. Like, there's too many villains going on at the moment.
Yeah, I blame myself.
I get that. We say that we like villains on Conversation Street here.
I said I like antagonists.
Yeah, so sometimes it has felt like there's been possibly too many. I get that at once, and not all of them have been like. If you a good villain is one that you're like, can anyone see what they're doing? I can't believe they're doing that, and like he makes my blood boil, but I want to watch them. And sometimes there's a problem with if they put too many villains, and it kind of loses that effect. And it's like, there we go, somebody else being horrible, somebody else trying to split a couple up, But
I do think fandom's got a bit of an issue with antagonists in that they don't understand their role in stories.
Sometimes, yeah.
Because we do need these characters. Now, in an ideal world, these characters would be main characters, very much like Les. Les Battersby was an antagonist. He was a thorn in people's sides. Mm. That's the kind of person you want. You don't want a revolving door of grey hoodies coming in and just meddling
for a year or so,
and then buggering off. Like I think an example of a pretty weak villain. Like, I'd be happy to fight this guy, Noah, because he just died.
Noah had the naffest exit.
I do not know what happened.
We're not talking about exits here, but he just died off screen, didn't he?
This is like the most anticlimactic villain of all.
I didn't, Noah was there kind of riling things up for Theo and Todd, wasn't he? And I did kind of like, a particular favourite Noah scene of mine was when he was there at the marriage guidance scene with Danielle and Theo. He was. But yeah, I didn't. When it was revealed that he'd been killed off, I was like, oh, okay then.
Why?
Other than with some great villains, it's like, I want to see them getting sent down. And we
had all these theories, didn't we, about Noah? Like maybe there's some kind of suppressed, like erotic past between him and Theo that we made up because the truth was too boring. That he just is a brainwashed.
So I think, as you said, the grey hoodie is the most pathetic villain. I think there is a strong case for him. I would also maybe do a bit of a shout out to Andy, who was David's little partner in crime earlier on in the year. David was doing the getaway driving for, and then who ended up trying. This guy at all. I vaguely remember what he looks like, but he was the one that tried to run over David. Well, David enlisted him to run him over, and he was there, just as he really came across as a bit of a hired goon for a month or so, and then that was the end of him.
Do you know who the most faceless, crappy goons are? Mm. Curtis and the German gangsters.
And Harvey last year. He got plenty of shouts out, but no on-screen appearances. I think they've got to have a face that they can pull their hoodie over in order to get this award.
I really want to push Curtis.
No, we cannot give Curtis the Grey Hoodie Award, Gemma. That's just avoiding.
But the German one, the German gangster, is even better because they don't even have names. Like, what are their names?
Fritz,
Hans, Klaus.
Yeah, good one. Adolf.
Yeah, classic.
Classic Grey Hoodie. No, we can't give it to him. It needs to be an actual character here, Gemma. I also would like to, throw Fiona into the ring.
Yeah.
But, I didn't enjoy her. She was just a bit of a meddler, getting Carl involved in their fake MOT scams.
She felt like she could achieve a lot in her life if she just applied her skills to legitimate business.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know why she was so intent on doing fake MOTs.
Yeah.
It's like she read about MOTs on the internet, didn't know how to do them, but she was still determined to be involved in them somehow. Maybe her dad was like a great MOTer or something.
I put her in the same sort of category as notorious massive racist Naomi, as someone who just comes in because the storyline demands it, and she's a bit of a cow for a bit, and then off she goes, and then kind of pat her off on the head. You've done a good job.
Easily defeated, clearly villainous and evil.
Yeah,
with
no depth whatsoever.
What do you do at night, Naomi and Fiona? What do you actually do?
Yeah,
drink wine and watch movies and are rude about everyone.
Yeah, a real villain, you should be able to think of them at night sitting there just like plotting their next evil scheme, and I didn't get that with either of those two. In fact, to be honest, Naomi was quite fun when she was attacking Asher, as harrowing as the scene was. She had a bit of life to her, didn't she, when she was sitting there on Victoria Street with her shoes off. I think that the Grey Hoodie Award, the name of it originally came from teenagers, though, didn't it? I think it was Simon who wanted a grey hoodie to be in with the rest of the bad lads back 5 or so years ago. So maybe we need to be looking at more characters like that. So Jake, Max, for example. Max set fire to a house last year, and
I kind of think Max is going to get it here, because what the hell are you doing? And he was wearing a hoodie when he committed this crime. He
actually wasn't he? Yeah. The hoodie with the skull on the back. No, it was black, wasn't it? I don't know. It
was a senseless crime. It made no sense.
I think that because I enjoy Max too much to award this to him.
I feel bad for Max.
I think that Jake is a real wannabe grey hoodie. I think he'd proudly wear that, wouldn't he? We barely saw him last year, but the two main times we did, one of them he was blackmailing Lauren because they saw that she
ran over someone. No, did something with a car.
She stole Tracy's van, wasn't it? He'd seen, and then we also saw him. I'm pretty sure this was in 25, being Carl's little helper on something. Was he? I think it was Carl, or was it Theo, that met up with Jake in the precinct at one point, and he'd done something.
Tried to be nefarious.
They're really turning him into a real oik of a child, aren't they? And I think that, as I say, you'd proudly wear that grey hoodie. I mean, other possible nominees that I was thinking of, but I don't think really deserve it, is that Mandy. She was a bit of a villain, wasn't she?
But she's a mum.
I know. Becky, obviously. Some people, any excuse to say that she was terrible. Dom as well.
But she's a mum.
That's enough. I'm really struggling to this one to really tie it down. Even Rob, I mean, he was a pretty awful bad guy, wasn't he? And I think they made him into a baddie. He was a bit changed his character. Rob
got a bit of a Jim McDonald treatment, didn't he? Because he kind of got neutered and enfeebled.
Yeah, he seemed to be a bit more layered in his last appearance, and he was really kind of dumbed down into watered down, into a bit of I'm just going to cause chaos for Carla and Lisa here. I'm going to have a bit of a siege. I'm going to flip over a balcony, and I'm going to become a Christian.
What's your favourite
apparently.
pudding?
Yeah. And he probably was wearing a hoodie when he was skulking around the Ginnel, wasn't he? Who else? Costello, maybe? Is he grey hoodie?
No, because he was I think the difference is some of these people are clearly got more about them, but we never get to see it. So I think Fiona and Costello, I don't know who else, but those characters feel like they have more. They did more, but the story that we saw was the tip of the iceberg. Costello really should be in jail. He should have been in prison because he embezzled clearly embezzled. We still don't really know what the hell happened.
No, we don't.
Is he a dumb criminal or is he a genius? We don't know because we don't know what he did.
But we are judging him on 2025, and I think he was very much in the game by the end of last year.
Around.
Well, wasn't he in hospital by the end of last year? Actually,
yeah.
I think that I don't want to give it to Max because I feel that the Grey Hoodie Award should be to a real kind of nameless, faceless, shallow as you like character. So I'd be more going for somebody like Noah or Jake for something like this.
I like Jake.
I'd really
like he has ambitions, but they're not really going anywhere for him.
No, he's like, he's gangster in training, isn't he? He aspires to be hanging around on street corners with a vape and an Alco pop and a.
He's like he wants to be a rapper, like an American gangster rapper, but actually he just writes poetry.
Okay, well, I'll happily give it to Jake because he didn't do much, but when he did, he embodied for me the qualities that make a proper grey hoodie. Bit of a pathetic bad guy. So okay, we'll watch this space for him because eventually I suppose they're going to have to start using him a little bit more. Right, next up we have got the Mare Award. So this is I was thinking of nominees for this, and I wondered even whether we open it up to some of the males because this is the category that had traditionally, historically, has been just the kind of moany, moody woman. And somebody who's just always got a face on them,
has got a very rich history of allowing women to freely express their negative emotions.
Yeah.
And a mare is somebody that does that. So I would say Betty is probably the queen of the mares because everyone thinks, oh, she's such a cheery, barmaid extraordinaire, blah blah blah, but actually she moaned the whole time.
She was very po-faced, wasn't she?
Pretty much from the beginning that she was behind the bar. She just hated it.
I mean, I think of
she's over it.
I think of Michelle when I think of Mares as well.
Yeah, Michelle.
Again, maybe it's just something to do with being behind the bar at the Rovers because I think that Lauren is quite a contender for 2025. Another hiring at the Rovers that hasn't quite finished that customer hospitality course.
There's a couple of people behind the bar at the Rovers who maybe shouldn't be there, and Maggie's another one.
Oh yeah, Maggie's a Mardy Mare, isn't she?
Now,
but
actually,
she says it with more of a twinkle in her eye.
Maggie is actually pretty good with customers. It's just she hates Eva and Lauren.
Yes.
Whereas Lauren is terrible with all customers.
And we seem to have lent more into that in the past month and a half, I would say. I don't know whether it's fair to judge her on being a Mardy, Lauren. But I suppose she was a bit Mardy when she was up in court last year.
Well, she was Mardy when her kid was in hospital.
Oh, yeah, she wasn't she?
The trouble about this is it's really hard to look back and think to yourself, when did the year start? What were these characters doing? Have they changed in a significant way since then? And Lauren was part of the bar team before 2026, so it's fair to judge her.
Yeah, I suppose so.
On her really poor performance as being. I think it should go to Lauren because I think that it's kind of admirable that they didn't try to completely overhaul her personality when they put her in as a barmaid. It could have been like a fresh start. She's overcome her problems. She was in a coercive relationship. She was manipulated. She was young, vulnerable. She had a baby. Terrible things happened to her. But at the end of the day, she is just a miserable cow no matter what's happening.
I mean, they experimented with making her fun, didn't they? And you said you didn't like that when they did that, having her being a bit more kooky behind the bar. And also when they were leaning into the friendship with Betsy. But they've done so little of that. It's like, right, we've had your friendship scene with Betsy. You've stolen the van. Right, here's your other friendship scene with Betsy. You're going to try and figure out what was going on with Becky being a bent copper. But they didn't really, in the grand tradition of Corrie, Bezzy mates, it doesn't hold a candle to the likes of, Gail and Trisha Hopkins or I can't think of any others, but there's probably a million of them. Sheila Birtles and Doreen Lostock, I don't know.
It's because Lauren I don't think is suited to being a barmaid. And I said before, I think she should have a cleaning business. And I genuinely think that would be a brilliant move for Lauren as a character because it would allow her to be miserable and carry on being rude to people, because nobody expects a cleaner to be... I used to be a cleaner, I can say what I like. Nobody expects you to be like, good morning, how are you? I've emptied the bins. You know, somebody comes in and you're cleaning the classroom or whatever you're doing. You go, right, morning. And they don't expect you to be happy.
Yeah, but my favourite cleaner that I've ever had at school was dear Frances, God rest her soul. And she was lovely and cheerful.
I wasn't.
No. I mean, I said earlier that this is...
my floor was haunted.
I said earlier that this is traditionally a female award, but I mean, I think Kevin really could be a strong contender if we were to open this up to both genders. And Will. They've both been really, really mardy, haven't they?
Now, they've had a lot to contend with. But Lauren's got no excuse because all her problems are behind her now. But Kevin's had cancer, his wife cheated on him, and now he's got... you know, a sister with dementia. Will is being groomed.
Yeah, but he's not mardy about that, is he? He's mardy about the fact that Daniel is...
to move. Yeah, he's got a love rival.
Yeah, but you're right, moving away from Hull.
A limp-wristed poet, which if I was a teenage boy, you know, like an athlete, and my love rival was a limp-wristed poet, I'd be mad as well. But like, what do you want out of life? Shakespeare's written all the love poems you ever need. Just get this book of sonnets, flick through it, and then come and watch me run around a field.
I mean, what do you think about... Can they be up for nomination?
Yes, I think we've had this before.
Kevin's thrown his hat into the ring.
Gender equality. I will call anyone a bitch who acts like a bitch. Anyone's a mardy mare who acts like a mardy mare. Kevin has got a real, I would say, a bit of a reputation for being a grumpy poo.
He really, really does.
Over the past year.
I mean, that was always kind of his thing. But this past 12 months, he's really kind of lent into it. And like you said, I know he's got reasons for it, but he hasn't changed. It's not like he went, oh, this has drastically changed my personality going through having cancer. He just went, oh God, great, brilliant, just what I needed. Yeah. Can I just say a few honourable mentions that I don't think we'll get it. I was kind of wondering whether Joni, the older of the McAllis girls, could get a shout out. Yeah. She's a mardy teenager, but I don't think they've used her as much.
She trashed the Christmas tree. She was beating up a little sister. Yeah, brilliant. Mardy move that is, isn't it?
But you know, to compare her to the sheer mardiness of Lauren, sorry, it's off the scale, Lauren.
If you imagine like the pain of being a mardy mare, like projecting from your forehead in kind of a power beam of misery. And all of these characters are standing there, and they're thrusting their beams at each other. Kevin would obliterate everybody with just the sheer force of his misery.
Yeah, and we're also
I can't imagine
we've got the
Joni.
Weatherfield Waterworks Award coming later on, and Lauren might be a strong contender for that, which I wouldn't say that Kevin is.
I've forgotten who's been crying. I just remember. Being miserable.
I just want to give a quick shout out to Millie as well, Theo's daughter. She was pretty miserable and a bit of a mardy mare about Todd going out with her dad.
I'd say a really good indicator as to whether a character belongs in this category is if I just say their name and you picture their face in your head. Are they smiling or are they frowning? Because every single one of these people has an upside down U for a mouth in my brain.
Like a beaker off of the Muppets.
Yes.
I mean,
I'd be happy for any of these.
We've been round the houses a little bit, so it really seems like, you know, Will is really, really, really strong contender for this, but maybe I feel a bit mean with that.
Yeah, I don't think that's right.
I think it's either Kevin or Lauren, and I think that maybe who's had the worst problems?
I think Kevin wins this.
I
think it's refreshing.
Okay, well, he's a Mardy Mare, Mardy Stallion, whatever you like.
No.
But,
just Mardy Mare.
Mardy Mare goes
Kevin.
to Kevin for the past 12 months. And I know, you know, if I had gone through all the stuff that he had, then maybe I would be pretty Mardy too.
It's not about that, is it?
But it's not about that. We're not looking for reasons for their Mardiness. He just is. Crack a smile, Kevin. Come on.
Yeah, come on, smile.
Get your dartboard out. Stop moping.
Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happens. No, that doesn't work.
No.
For cancer, does it?
Smile that you got a top billing in Coronation Street for you, and you got a front page or a few soap mags. Yeah, exactly. You've been in this show for 40 years, Kevin.
Has Kevin ever been on the front of a soap magazine smiling?
Oh, he probably did
Maybe
when he
in the
married...
90s.
No, I was going to say,
Sally.
like, maybe, yeah, when he married Sally back in 1980, whenever it was, 1986, 1987.
All right, has a non-mustachioed Kevin ever?
Yeah, I'm
Anyway,
not sure
let's
about
move on.
that one.
Kevin's the mardiest mare. Congratulations.
So, here's an award that Kevin probably could have won back in 1997 had we been doing this back then. The Dirty Dog Award is just for the guy that's been putting it about a bit.
Or
much.
lady.
There
aren't any ladies.
Dirty Pitch Award.
This has got a different ring, hasn't it?
Yeah, this is for the man who has not been able to keep it in their trousers this year, or if they have, they've still been a bit leery and gross around the opposite sex.
But this is more like this isn't about like actionable offences. This isn't like assaulting people. This isn't Mick, looking dangerously like he was about to grope.
This is the
Daisy.
Slime Ball Award,
This
isn't it?
Theo like abusing Todd. This is
Theo sleeping with Pete while Todd's still going out with him.
This is Carl just slagging his way around whoever will jump in bed with him.
Yeah, I mean, Carl is a strong contender,
I think
isn't
he wins.
I think probably he does. I mean, how did he describe himself? He was a free spirit, a hedonist, or I don't know.
But I think that I like how angst-free he is about it, because in the past, like we awarded Imran this previously for his affair with Abby,
yeah.
And he that was a real low point in his life. He beat himself up about it. It kind of ruined, it led to his death eventually. Whereas Carl's like, yeah, and I'd do it again.
Yeah, and I think that makes him even dirtier.
I know, but
he's a mucky pup, Carl.
Yeah, he's not a dirty dog. He's a mucky pup.
Yeah.
I like
Schmutziger Hund.
If you're gonna do it, enjoy it. You might as well.
I think the fact that he was actively pursuing Abby for a good chunk of the first half of the year, and she, to be fair to her, was saying, no, we can't do this, not while I'm going out with Kevin, it's not right. What? Kevin's lied about having cancer.
Well then, guess what?
Drop him, big boy. But yeah, and then you got obviously, while he was going out with Abby, he was also having it off with James at the same time. I can't remember whether there's been anybody else that Carl jumped into bed with. But I just think for that on its own, it really does make him a strong contender. But I still would say, Theo, I don't think we should discount him straight away. He was married to Danielle. Danielle. That would be something different. Danielle, when he had an affair with Todd, he was putting himself about on Gay Bay with his, sexy topless pictures, saying, "Hey, guess what, guys?" Pretending to be all innocent, and I've never even thought of a man
my
naked
sleeves
before.
fell off.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't my sleeves fell off.
It wasn't supposed to be like this. And then it's supposed to be a normal t-shirt.
Kept that all going, and then, like I said, while he was engaged in a relationship with Todd, he slept with Pete, didn't he? And then was just like, what? So what? He was just brazenly, yeah, whatever.
I'd like to put forward a suggestion for Abby.
Abby, a dirty dog.
Yeah, because this is the second time now she's dirty dogged it up, and she's gone under the radar here because we've got a shortlist and she's not on the shortlist, but it was just as much her giving in to Carl as it was Carl pursuing her. Takes two to tango, and now she's got form. This is the second time.
I would
Repeat
say
offender,
that,
I say.
I would say that
once.
she was honourable enough to want to wait
but
until Kevin's cancer.
Worse? Does it make it worse when she was like, "Oh, I only do it for good reason"? Like, no, don't do it at all. There's no good reason to be a dirty dog. You dirty dog.
I don't think that compared to the other two, she's up there for me. I mean, I've also was thinking, low stakes. Is Ardy a dirty dog because getting together with Lauren just to kind of hide the fact that he drugged her, and then he was also then not long after that he got Amy in bed, and that didn't last very long. And also Mick. He was a bit of a dirty dog, wasn't he?
No.
Because he was chatting at people whilst being married to Lou.
But he was
propositioning our Daisy.
I know, but that felt very like, I'm going to do something
a bit more
illegal.
illicit.
No, not illicit, just illegal.
Okay. But yeah, I don't think that they deserve it. But I think that I'll happily go with Carl in the end.
Yeah.
Just because of that was his personality. His personality was, I'm a player. I'm going to put it about. Don't care whether they're in a relationship or not. I'm going to sneak around. He literally lives at the Coronation Street Sex Hotel, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. He does.
That I knew I would not want to put a black light around that room. And Carl's contributed quite handsomely to that in the past 12 months.
I wonder how many kinders are running around Germany. I wonder how many grandchildren Debbie's got.
Yeah, is he going to go back to Germany and have a bit of a kinder surprise?
Oh my God, brilliant.
I think that Theo is a really strong contender, but Theo's shtick is I coercively control
it's
Todd.
Sinister.
It's sinister.
Yeah.
Whereas
it's not funny.
No.
It's not funny to give him the award. It's funny to give it to Carl.
Yeah, and I think Carl would say, yeah, so what?
Carl would be like, what?
No shame.
Carl would be like Charlie D'Amelio, who plays Imran, was, and say, where's my certificate?
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, he is a proper dirty dog. He's a slime ball. He makes my skin crawl. I will happily award the Dirty Dog Award 2025 to Carl.
Don't worry, Michael. He's not after you.
Oh, thank you. Thank goodness for that. Right, next up, we all have all sorts of awards in here. Some of it is a bit of a criticism of the programme. That one wasn't, was it? And this...
no, it's the characters are all supposed to be...
Yeah.
Dirty dogs.
But this next award, which is the Can Do Something Award, is more just us saying,
what's going on here?
What's going on with this character? Why don't we see them this year? Let's get them into more of a story in 2026, please. We almost forgot they existed last year. And in some cases, it's characters that there's a really good reason for them not having appeared very much, and sometimes we don't know that there's a really, really good reason. I still feel really bad for kind of criticising Corrie's lack of Eileen use a couple of years ago when she, Sue's Cleaver off screen was really going through the ringer. But we don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know all of these. What
told.
goes on behind closed doors.
All we can say is that we want to see more of our favourite characters.
Yeah, this is an award for the character that hasn't done anything, and we think that they really should have done something. And I would, if I was the character, I would say, go and insert yourself a little bit more, as Hilda once said to San. Be a bit more suppository about it. And because there were lots of lingerers towards the bottom character appearance list, were there? I mean, I think, obviously for us, a very obvious contender would be Artoya, but that's just because we really love her, and she clearly had a bit of a lull of a year with only 66 appearances.
Well, it feels like there are some characters here that I could say to myself, I genuinely can understand why these characters have had very few appearances.
Yeah, Ken or Rita,
or extraneous reasons, like education or health or whatever.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Like Sam, Hope,
I can't
Audrey,
believe
Ken,
that
Rita.
Sam only made 25 episode appearances last year, and considering some of those were like the first and the second half of an hour long, we barely saw him last year. And already, we're into 2026, he is already doing something. So I would think that, if we were to have done this 5 weeks ago, he would be quite a strong contender, and I would have then been very happy that he is getting stories.
Other people where I'm like, I'm not sure why this character has not been used are people like Leanne and Toya and Nina.
I would say that for Leanne and Toya, it's because they had a really, really big 2024.
Yeah, I know.
And it was a case of resting the character. Even like Nick, he didn't get that many more than the sisters here.
The trouble is with that approach is that is the approach that Coronation Street has selected, but it feels wrong because it feels like it's feast or famine, and characters. It doesn't feel like a sustainable career for an actor to go, yeah, I'm going to be in a show and have no life whatsoever for like 2 years, and then for 3 years I won't even remember I'm in it.
No, it's not sustainable, but it's the way it is. I think that obviously.
Well, this is why they're going to start losing people, like
like Sally Ann Matthews.
And Charlie. Girl Charlie.
Oh yeah, Charlotte Jordan. Yeah,
Charlotte Jordan.
Daisy.
I don't know why she left, but if I was her, I'd be going. I could be in the show, 2 years out of 5, or I could just go 2 years and then bugger off and do something else. It makes sense.
Yeah.
If you're ambitious,
I think
to go and be in a different show. So why are they hemorrhaging talent?
There are certain
because
characters.
they won't use people properly.
There are certain characters that didn't get a huge number of appearances, and off the record, I don't really mind. So Chesney, for example.
Well, that's not off the record now, is it?
Oh damn it! It's on tape. Chesney got 50 appearances last year. I wasn't complaining. Adam, same, 50 appearances.
Well,
some people, if this was Mary doing the award for this, you'd be saying, "Oh, get Adam. I definitely need him to do more." But I'm never really that fussed if we go weeks, nay months, without an Adam appearance. So I'm not going to be begging for him to do something in 2026. Is there anybody that I would personally. I think if this was me and I didn't want to go too obvious and rude, I'd probably say Amy. Because I don't get why they're not using her. It makes no sense to me. At least for Toya and Leanne, I can say, yeah, fair enough. They can't be in it all the time. But with Amy...
Yeah, I agree, but I'm going to say Nina too. Like, Amy, definitely, because she's a legacy character and she should be the heart of the Barlows.
She what did she do last year?
She's the heir of the Barlow clan.
Amy had a few bits where it looked like they were going
and
somewhere.
And the McDonald's.
Like when they sent her off to wherever it was, and she ended up stumbling across Aaron's stag do. Do you remember it? But James what's his name? I keep saying James Cameron is obviously not. James Craven, thank you. He wasn't there, so that was just odd. And then there was no story that came out of that. Amy got a radio show. No story came out of that. Amy nearly got together with Ardy. No story really came out of that. Well, Amy did get together with Ardy for a little bit, should I say. I think that I'm baffled. I'm really, really baffled about why they're not using her. Even Nina, I kind of get it, because she's kind of got into that rut of she's just there in the cafe now,
Butter and Balms,
and she's doing something. And Summer, another character. I just think that these characters that are in their young 20s, who were front and centre of the show on the year that they had the Seb kicking story, there's some really strong cast there, and they're squandering a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, Nina to me feels like she's overdue a big story. Every year I've been like, this year's her year. This year's got to be her year.
It's sad, but I've almost reached the point where it's like, oh well with Nina. I'm not like begging or thirsty for a Nina story. I've kind of resigned myself to the fact that she's not getting one. But with Amy, I'm thinking, I still think that she could, and that she will at some point. When's it going to happen?
Yeah, so are you narrowing it down to those two then?
I mean, I could do. As I said, I mean, Sam, I'd happily not give him the award because he is now doing something. People like Audrey and Ken and Rita, we can't give it to them. Fair enough. Izzy, same thing.
Ken, though, did pretty well with the allotment that he had.
Yeah, at the beginning of the year, for sure. I mean, I might say Hope, but as opposed to similar reasons why we've not seen that much Sam, is going to be the same for Hope this year. It's just that Sam and Hope are both characters who have had really big years, who, they've been getting their education behind the scenes at Coronation Street, have Jude and Bella, and if you compare them to the likes of Jake, who just shows up every now and then, it's worlds apart. But these are characters that have been clearly developed. They've got big personalities, they've got really strong links in the show, and yet for some reason last year we didn't see much of them. But back in the day, Chesney didn't have a break. He was always in it when he was a kid. I don't think he had a single year which was a Chesney light year. Same with who's the other one? David. Well, he was never out of the show.
I know, but do you not think that maybe they've improved the way they deal with child actors?
Maybe, but
it wasn't that long ago, but even when we went to the audience with Jack P. Shepherd was talking about when they filmed the canal scene, when Richard dumped everybody in the canal in the car, and he was like, they actually put us in a car in water. They wouldn't be allowed to do that now.
That's true.
Maybe it's better that the children have a more rounded experience.
Yeah. Rosie and Sophie, they're another two that Sarah Louise, these characters have shown that they can go through their teenage years without having as big a break as Sam did last year.
Well, they just AI them.
Yeah.
I think you've made a strong case for Amy.
Okay, well, I'll take that. I mean, I think Nina's probably won this before. I don't remember. We don't keep track of these.
Can't keep having it.
But because I really, really, really rate Amy as a character. She's part of the Barlows. Elma Vaney is great.
But also because I want to know what she's going to do with her life. And this is where we find out. Like, what... She's studying
some nebulous subjects.
Something.
I don't even know.
What is she going to do? I'm really fascinated. I want to see more. These young people, these young characters are the future of Coronation Street.
But what I don't want with Amy, because this is going to be a bit of a monkey's paw wish, I don't need it to be, I'm sad, I'm having a breakdown, because I would have said, like, yeah, more Asher, it's great, but that story really wore on me. And I just, Amy having fun, Amy doing something successful,
Amy doing young entrepreneurs.
Amy getting into a proper, nice relationship with somebody who doesn't have a dark secret or is going to not ask for consent, shall we say.
Amy getting a KFC franchise.
Yeah, why not? Okay, so Amy is the winner of the Can Do Something award this year. What is next, Gemma?
Can do.
Gemma, look, we've got a brand new award coming up now. I thought I'd put it roughly towards the middle. Are we in the middle? I don't know. Gemma, tell us, our dear listeners, about the new award, the new category for 2026.
Back of the Taxi Award for underwhelming exits.
It feels like now is the time that this award should come into existence.
More than happy to see the back of this award in the back of a taxi for 2026. But we had so many people leave last year that really they couldn't make a song and dance about everybody. So it might as well have just had a shuttle bus going from Weatherfield to the airport. The amount of people that just went.
Yeah.
And they just went in a really low-key way.
I mean, we had some big exits for, Craig, for Mason,
Julie.
Yeah, even Julie and Daisy, they had big-ish feeling exits.
And, Daisy went in the back of a taxi, but it wasn't a boring back of the taxi.
No, that was like the best back of a taxi exit for a very long time.
It should have been the end of back of the taxi exits, but it wasn't.
No, so back of the taxi is literally just somebody who's like, anyway, I'm going now, bye.
Blink and you miss it.
Yeah, so you...
Doesn't have to be in a taxi.
There are some real strong contenders, and it's really going to be quite difficult to decide which one gets it, because Yasmin... I think I'm going to go to London to work for a charity now. 2 episodes later, bye, I'm off then. Jenny wakes up one morning. I think I'm going to go to Tenerife now. Bye. And it was a good episode.
Yeah,
but it was total back of the taxi, wasn't it? Dee Dee, just looking up Singapore on my laptop. A couple of weeks later, off I go. Come on, kid. Let's start a brand new life the other side of the world. Why not? Bobby... he didn't even get an exit. I don't even know whether this can count, but this is like him and Noah both. We never realised that what we were watching was their final scenes. I don't know whether that should count or not, because I feels like to be a back of the taxi exit winner, we've got to at least see and experience their exit and feel that it was a bit underwhelming. I suppose with Noah we got the announcement at the time.
I know what you mean.
Did Ardy have a back of the taxi exit? I think he got a bit of a story building up to it. I think I was a bit disappointed.
The best story of anyone in this list.
Yeah, because he got, it was a summer party, it was his lies to Lauren.
I think the thing is that,
suffering, not being able to do what he wanted not being able to live up to his dad's expectations in the shop.
Yeah.
I mean, out of these... Do you think any of them really stand out to you as they deserved better? What on earth was that?
What happened to Tommy Orpington?
Did he
just get left in Spain?
No, he came back. He came back for an episode and said to Tracy, "I'm going to Southampton," didn't he? He's one of us now.
Yeah, one of us.
That was. But I don't think that anyone was really expecting an all singing, all done. Just imagine if Tommy Orpington had an exit
storyline
that rivaled some of these main characters. And I know that in previous years, like during Stephen's reign of terror, you had Rufus. He got a brilliant exit, and he was a nobody. But yeah, I don't think anyone was expecting that much for Tommy Orpington. For me, this boils down to, I'm gonna say Yasmin versus Dee Dee. I think. Because I think that Bobby's exit, I think when we kind of heard that Bobby was gone, we did give a little cheer, didn't we? And I think for a Back of the Taxi award, we've got to see the exit and go, they deserve better. I don't think Bobby did.
I'm going to say Yasmin, because Dee Dee, at least they kind of crafted some kind of story, even though it didn't make a lot of sense why she's going to that place, and the point of her life that she decided to go. Really, okay, whatever. Whereas Yasmin was just like, I've looked ahead and I've not got any scripts, so I'm just going to go to London. If you need me, just let me know. It literally came out of nowhere, and I think a lot of people actually didn't even know that she had left. I think unfortunately, I do think that sometimes the first time people hear of some of these characters have actually left for good is when they heard us say it on the podcast.
Yes.
Because people do go, Lily went to football camp or whatever in London for a while and came back. Characters do go and live somewhere. Fizz went to Norfolk, wherever, and came back again. So you would be forgiven for thinking that Yasmin was going to bob back again.
But no.
But no, she literally just went forever and she's not coming back.
I think you're maybe right about Dee Dee, because there was a bit of drama with what James, he wants Layla, is he going to go with them? He's really formed a bond with this little kid.
And she talked about it, honestly, genuinely, I would have liked for her to have said anything about Singapore. Anything at all. Does she know where it is on a map? I'm not convinced. But at least she talked about, I've got a really good offer from...
Yeah.
Maybe it was Singapore Street in some city in England that we've not heard of.
I think not.
Wow.
But yeah, you're right. Yasmin, I think the problem with her as well was she hadn't, as far as I remember, didn't really do anything at the start of 2025 until saying, anyway, I'm going. And, you can probably look at the episode counts and find that's not completely true. But at least Dee Dee had some things going on that year. Yeah. But
at least it felt this will be significant. Even though I'm sad to say that a lot of the times a character's absence isn't truly felt in modern Corrie because of the way that the stories are constructed and the fact that people can be off screen for months before you really notice they're gone.
Yeah. I think as well, for Yasmin, she had earned a better exit after the 2020 coercive control story with Jeff, when she was getting awards or nominations left, right and centre for, best actress in soap, best storyline.
Yeah.
And for the character in the subsequent years to be just reduced to somebody who just didn't really do anything of note.
And went to work for a charity in London that, why couldn't it have been a Sodden library or a community centre?
Why couldn't she have taken Alia with her?
Well, why couldn't she have gone, I'm going to live... I mean, did she say she was going to live with Zidane? Maybe very briefly.
Yeah, I think so, possibly.
I'm going to go work for a charity. Okay. It's like, I'm going to work for a business. Well, yeah, I guess you will.
Yeah. Well,
so what?
Well,
be more specific.
I think that's that one decided then. Back of the Taxi for Yasmin Award, our very first recipient of that award. I want to see what she's up to next. She was talking about that play, wasn't she, when I interviewed her, that she had in mind, but I don't know whether that's come to anything yet.
Working.
I did.
Although, to be honest with you, the way they treat some of these actors, they enjoy not working while they're still being employed.
This is true. We did. Shally and I did exchange Christmas Day texts this year, so if anyone's wondering, she's doing all right, thank you very much.
Merry Christmas.
Okay, next up we have got the Build Up to Nout Award, and this is where we recognise the stories that felt they were going somewhere but then just kind of fizzled out and felt like, were those just cliffhangers for cliffhangers'
This
sake?
is like such a feast.
You had us on the line here, and then you just tossed us back into the ocean and said, what do you hook yourself onto that for, you stupid fish?
Why did you think this was going to be a story?
Yeah.
Well, just because we told you?
I've thought of quite a few of these, and we've got a kind of nominees list here, but we certainly don't need to discuss all of them if you don't want to. Have you got any particular ones that you think stand out to you as
Well, I think that
build
we've
up to now?
already mentioned them in the Grey Hoodie Awards, but the faceless evil gang that were the German loan sharks and Curtis's goons, who were, I think, everything to do with Becky's return and all of the kind of unanswered questions. I mean, that dragged all the way through to Corrie, which was still only at the beginning of January.
Yeah,
You would have been forgiven for thinking at the end of 2025 if you were doing these awards then, like, don't worry, the Becky stuff will come to a conclusion. But it didn't. It just was like, no, she's just making it up. Who's the goons? Never mind. Don't worry.
You kind of get the impression that it's not going to, but there is going to be something more, isn't it? Because,
why?
Carla and Lisa, if they're getting married this year, which I'm sure is where it's going to head towards because of all the engagement monarchy last year, something's got to happen to allow them to be married, whether that's Becky's death or Becky agreeing. Yeah,
I don't think they'll remember. I don't think they care.
They will.
They won't. They don't care. I genuinely think that Becky's like criminal history is that, because it was purely to explain why she pretended to be dead. And then Corrie went, I've forgotten.
I think the fact that the Becky storyline did have an explosive ending with Corrie, it did have lots of drama, and I know it didn't answer all the questions, but it wasn't knout.
It didn't answer any questions.
It wasn't knout, it just didn't answer all the questions. But
yeah, no, because you're okay, I get what you're saying, but the build-up led to something that was disconnected to everything that came previously to it. The build up to now, my justification is that Becky was going, lurking about, Costello this, Curtis that, gangs, hoodies.
We were waiting to find out more about Becky. What's her involvement with Curtis? Is she still in Curtis's gang? Has she still got a couple of them still in her back pocket?
They like created so many red herrings. It's like, she's the Captain Birdseye of Coronation Street at the end.
Why?
She's fishing and bringing up all these red herrings, and we're like, we don't want that. We want cod for our fish fingers. Captain Becky, get back and see, please.
Yeah, Sally's run out.
Yeah.
She's got to give those girls something, hasn't she?
So was Abby. No, who was it that used to make them spaceships?
Yeah, that was Abby.
Abby,
fish finger spaceships, yeah. Okay, that to me, it doesn't feel quite right. I think
a lot of Swallow fans would be shouting.
Oh, I know.
And I am very pro that.
I'm looking into more like there was some intrigue, but why didn't they go any further? I can see what you're saying. So I'm looking for something like
there was a lot of development, even though it didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, whereas something like Chesney and his silver van man, who turned out to be Mick, that didn't go anywhere, did it?
I know,
because
he didn't even remember that he paid him back. Like Gemma and Chesney owed Mick and Lou loads of money because of what Chesney did. Yeah, and they were like, "Oh no, we're poor, we can't pay it."
Because part of the story,
and then they just didn't talk about it.
It was the intrigue of like, "Hey, here's the neighbours, and guess what? It's the van is his." It didn't go anywhere, and Mick realised, didn't he, that Chesney was the person who did it. But then he didn't.
Never found out.
I don't think Chesney never found out that Mick realised it was him.
No.
And I don't get why they didn't, because they clearly had a fairly short story arc planned for Mick because he went out fairly early. So why not?
I think that they had a very rare case of almost planning the entire arc of a character before the character even appeared on screen, including their exit for a fairly major character. Mick and Lou, I think they probably wrote everything before.
Yeah. So why didn't they? Why didn't they have
an ending for that? Yeah. Well, they could have written it in.
I would also like to give a shout out to Sam's PTSD and hiding under the desk phase last summer, which was, I don't even remember what he was doing about. Wasn't David telling him he needs to kind of man up a little bit? And Sam, you're just a massive geek. And then he went and it was because he got trapped in a corridor with Mick the Mad Gunman, didn't he? By Lily.
Yeah. And then they got mad. They did kind of get mad at each other, and then
and then apparently he just realised that the environment is important, and I'm going to focus my efforts into that now. And sorry, you're not going to see me again until January.
Yeah.
that I was kind of looking forward to. Oh, we're going to get a Sam story. But equally, I was also saying, oh, I don't want it to be another kind of mental health breakdown sort of crisis. I don't need that, and I certainly don't need Sam getting into that. But that definitely felt like it fell off a cliff.
I think the funniest one was Danny, who was in a car accident in America, in the United States, and that was the reason that he and James broke up, and he never was spoken of again, even though this man was the love of James's life so much that they were going to adopt a child together.
Yeah, well, I thought it was going to be a case that Danny gets killed off, and then that's why then James realises he can't.
It felt like there were so many other ways they could have dealt with them not wanting to bring Danny back as a character, but still wanting James to adopt a child.
Yeah.
Then just have him go, oh, he's boring now, he's been in an accident.
That's a fairly strong shot. I mean, a lot of these are really, aren't they? I think that...
German loan sharks.
But I still feel that because that story hasn't definitively ended yet, there's still a possibility that something's going to happen there. Whereas if you take something like Dee Dee's going to sue the hospital, oh no, she's not. She's just going to do some raising awareness off screen.
No,
I
think
that storyline felt like it was fairly big around, when was it, late spring that Dee Dee gave birth?
I know it's saying.
And it's like, oh, what's going to happen next? Then you had that Wes character, do you remember? And his sister. And then it's like, oh no, she's decided that she's...
My sister's not racist, she's just rubbish at being a nurse.
And
I can't even remember what they said in the end.
It was basically that.
The trouble with the Baileys is that they're using them to tackle enormous societal issues, far beyond the normal stuff that Coronation Street, proper political, you would have to shift so much in society to affect any kind of change that the characters would notice in their everyday life. James, I'm a gay footballer, I'm going to come out, and what happens then? I just fall over from a heart attack and I'm not a footballer anymore, so it doesn't matter. Dee Dee tackling the truly horrific fact that black mothers have poorer outcomes and black women are treated to medical misogyny and can die and lose their lives because they're not taken seriously, or people think that they've got, different pain thresholds. It's just horrible. But how is a soap going to satisfactorily show the issue and the solution? That's the trouble. A story needs to have a satisfactory ending for you to feel like you've enjoyed or have learned something. Or so when you tackle personal issues like coercive control or a cancer storyline or an affair or something like that, you can have a character arc that comes to a satisfactory conclusion where somebody changes and learns, but you can't change the world or the country that you live in.
It was almost like they were trying to bite off a bit more than they could chew with this story. The
Baileys are like, let's just tackle the subject of racism. Let's tackle the subject of homophobia. You can't have a conclusion to that makes sense. Because the only way to make a neat ending for that is to be like, and from then on, nobody was ever treated any different. No, it can't happen.
Yeah, and this story particularly,
but that doesn't mean that they shouldn't
blubbered out.
They shouldn't do it. It just felt a bit like they had a really big, strong middle for this. They really did, because she had a lot of conversations, really important conversations with people, and very difficult and awkward ones. I especially remember her with Audrey and Maria, and sort of going to them, yeah, I know you had a hard time, but my experience was different.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, but it didn't feel like, like I said, you can't. This is why I don't like medical storylines, because you can't cure MND because Coronation Street told everybody that it existed. You can't get rid of cancer because Kevin had ball cancer. What are you trying to? I'm getting
I get it. So
I can't criticise them for tackling them. It's just I don't know how. I don't think they did it fit into the story, the way that stories are told in soaps. I just don't think it did.
I would like to give a shout out as well to Nina and Summer at the end of the Ardy's party, and then they came in, there was a big mystery, everyone's there was going, oh my gosh, did we see that, what do we do, oh my god, we saw a body, and then it just turned out that it was Gary that had been beaten over the head with Lou. I thought that was a bit of a letdown
by Lou.
By Lou. I thought that was a bit of a letdown to a quite exciting tease at the end of that big episode, to be honest. And also Gary, the whole thing about Gary's masculinity crisis, that was a build-up to
he's
now,
fine
wasn't
now.
He? Yeah, he's absolutely cracking.
That's
now.
a real shame, because Gary is a really good character to use that storyline.
I wonder whether they saw what EastEnders had done with it with Phil Mitchell, and they can't
that.
compete with that.
But it is a shame, because Mikey North is great. Gary's been a character who's kind of like had his moment. Like, I just remember him dancing around with Lycra and living in a flat that's full of rose gold. Like, he's not the
the manliest of men, is he? He's not the roughiest of toughies.
Yeah, so it makes it's even more interesting to sort of think that he does prize masculinity and he can feel threatened. But how did it? I can't remember what happened.
Well, it
feels like he hasn't come to terms with it. He's just kind of forgot it happened.
Yeah. Okay, well, there's quite a lot of strong contenders there. I mean, in my head, I'm thinking the biggest ones for me is just like the comedy of Chesney and Mick versus Mick. I think the Sam just falling off a cliff in the summer, it felt like it was going to be something, but they're like, nah, let's not go that storyline. I think that the Becky storyline, we could go with that. And even like the Platts being hounded by gangsters earlier on in the year, and that led to the fire, and they were like, give us our money, and then I can't even remember how they got the money in the end. Did they get it off?
I don't know. Do you know what I'm going to say?
Did they get it off of Daniel, who got it off of Denise? I can't remember.
Can we give this to the nebulous threat of organised crime on the street? Because
yeah, we could. Why not?
Because you've got the Platts, you've got Carl, you've got Becky. All of these people are just being hounded by these criminals that don't really care that much about Coronation Street and don't bother turning up to their casting appointments.
I mean, if we want to kind of merge them together and say that.
Oh, this boogeyman's coming to get everybody. Oh no, it's a criminal. He's an evil criminal. But we're not going to show. Like, the last really good one was Callum.
Yeah,
he was
awesome. Great,
and it's like since then they've gone, oh, we shouldn't have killed Callum off in the life. That was a shame because he was great. Let's just have another one of them.
Like,
it's diminishing.
I didn't really enjoy having Damon Hay on the street. I didn't really enjoy Harvey Gaskell, but at least they were in it,
and they felt like, yeah, they've got their autonomous reasons for why they want to do something. It's not like, oh yeah, I'm a criminal and I don't like Carl because in the plot it says that Carl's being pursued by a German criminal, so that's why I'm doing it. Like, what? But why else? What else have you got going? Nothing.
There we go. We've got a winner.
I just read it on a bit of paper.
We've got a winner, and if you don't think this counts, well, tough, because it's our awards and we'll do what we like. We mentioned our next award earlier, Gemma. What have we got next?
This is the Weatherfield Waterworks Award for the character that cries the most in a year. And this is the one where you watch it and you genuinely fear for the actress. And I'm sorry, but it is always an actress.
Levels.
You think you want to stand a crate of coconut water to get those electrolytes up.
Yeah. But
you fear.
I would say, to be fair to Coronation Street, there hasn't been as big a crier in this past 12 months as we've had in the past. I mean, there is no Rana here, is there?
They've really had some.
They've got a bit more of a stiff upper lip.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, who have we got? I think that, Lisa could be a contender here.
I think Lisa has to win this because she has shed quite a few tears over that horrible Becky of hers.
Yeah,
but she looks so good doing it.
I know.
That's the thing. If you're a good actress in Coronation Street, you're going to get given a tragedy to contend with, because once they know you're good at crying and you look pretty when you do it, they're going to throw sadness your way.
Yeah, that's the thing. But as I said, I don't think there's been as many. I think Lisa could well be a strong contender for this. But Asha as well. She's had a lot of crying, hasn't she? Poor old Asha with her hard work being a paramedic.
I'd say that I think that the thing about Asha is that it felt like they did a good job, even though I didn't feel very connected to it. But they did a good job of portraying depression to an outsider.
I don't think they did. I think
Yes,
they showed a
because
little
she
bit of it and
wasn't-
then stuck her in the hospital.
Because she wasn't crying all the time. It wasn't like a stereotypical, like, oh, I'm going to recline on the sofa. She was just very emotionally blank. She was withdrawn. She was... Yeah, she was distant. She was emotionally distant because she was shutting down. And they did show her go to hospital. And although it's still mysterious to me about what actually happened and what's going on with her, they made an effort to sort of show a bit more of a dimension. It wasn't just like a weather-filled waterworks. She didn't just cry and everyone went, oh, look, she's crying. She must be sad.
Yeah.
You know, she struggled silently and kind of heroically alone until she couldn't, you know, and everyone was surprised when she, you know, she had that attempt and people were like, oh, because she wasn't crying and weeping because she was actually depressed.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. I retract my nomination for Asher. Abby, I think, could be there, especially for at the beginning of the year with all her PTSD and seeing Seb coming to haunt her and put a haunted spooky necklace around her neck. She, you know, Sally Carman, she's a very, very good actress, and she also looks great when she's got tears running down her face and panda
beautiful.
eyes.
Yeah. I can't think of many. I think usually there's loads more.
There usually are. I don't think they've really lent into the tragic.
Maybe we've finally broken them.
Maybe. We'll see, won't we? Because even Lauren, like, I don't think she's been that cryy.
No, she's
been
been
more
mardy,
pouty, hasn't she? Yeah. So it's Lisa or Abby, really, I think.
It's got to be Lisa. It's got to be Lisa.
Okay. If you want to go with Lisa, we can go with Lisa. She's had
I crowned her the best crier of the whole street.
Okay, well, you know, I think let's move on from that award.
And
then.
you know,
Saying.
if you want to help, it is an issues-based storyline. You can send your cartons of Vita Coco to ITV Trafford Wharf Road.
Yes, and
care of Vicky Myers.
Yeah, and then you can get them to take a photo of it to prove that it's come, but don't get too stressed if you don't find
Let's
out.
not get into it. Let's not get into it.
Right, what's up next, Gemma?
Give over
award. What's this?
Just bonkers nonsense.
It's like, come on, Coronation
do you mean?
Street. Do you really expect us to believe this?
You're not going to believe this, listeners. There are lots of potential nominees for this because lots of things happened in 2025 where you go, that's stupid, isn't it? Yeah. That's just stupid.
I mean, let's tear off this Becky-shaped plaster straight away and say that is a very, very strong contender.
But where do you begin and end with that? Because like you could really nominate several individual elements.
I mean, can we just say the fact that she was dead and now she's not dead?
And there's no real, like, nobody went, that's going to cause paperwork.
Yeah, well, I mean, and the fact that she was brazenly walking around outside, not trying to hide herself, that she's back.
The fact that Carla confronted her in the pub and said, I'm going to kill you, leave my wife alone, or whatever she said, and everyone was like, oh, that's a weird thing to say to your girlfriend's sister.
Yeah, I think you're right. Just everything. And when we heard the story about how she was smuggled across to Spain, it really
and
did stretch
don't
credulity. I still, I'm not going to say...
No, I loved it.
I hated when she came back. I thought it was great. I thought it was really fun. But I had to suspend my disbelief in order to enjoy it. And I know that there were lots of viewers that didn't want to.
It's
and
like when
fair
you watch...
play. If you don't want to, don't. I completely get why some people were really knocked off by this story, but I still quite enjoyed most of it.
It's like when you watch Neverending Story, you don't go, oh, why is there a flying dragon called Falcon? It doesn't make any sense. They've established that in the world of Neverending Story, fantastical things happen. But they haven't established in the world of Coronation Street that it should be possible to come back from the dead completely unnoticed.
And it wasn't come back from the dead. I mean, I would say that her comeback from the dead is a whole lot less problematic than what I'm guessing Graham's on Emmerdale would be. And we are allowed to mention that because it's a Corrie
we still haven't watched their explanation for... No,
I think they've had it, but, he
had They didn't even bother.
He had an on-screen funeral on the telly, and at least Becky didn't have that. So you could say, well, we didn't see her die. But with Graham, they actually did, I think.
What's better is to go, right, we're going to address the elephant in the room here and tell you how this came about. And possibly have a bunch of people go, well, that still doesn't make any sense. That's just stupid. or just go, don't worry about it. It's a soap. What are you worried? Just leave it. Which is the better approach?
I don't know.
Because really, could they have tied up Becky? Like, is there somewhere a piece of paper that they just haven't bothered putting on screen? You know,
this is the timeline.
we have actually worked this out, guys. You know, you're slagging us off here for something, but it could have worked, and here's why.
I think they must have done. I really think that they must have done. And it just didn't come across in the scripts well enough. Okay, so that is definitely quite a strong contender. But I don't know, there seemed like so much. I want to give
the other thing is quite low, you know, the rest of it's low level, but it's like, 1,000 paper cuts.
I would say that whatever is going on with Dorin is worth a shout out here.
Romanian social services.
The fact that Alina, back in, when was it, April? I don't know, dropped her son off screen, at number 9 because she had a flooded flat. And there's been no mention, not a single thing since of, so are we keeping him? Is Alina coming back soon? Is her flat dried out?
She got a sump pump or something?
Like maybe...
Is it very damp in Romania? Is Romania now underwater?
This is the fact that nobody has mentioned anything. It's utterly... And they didn't even bring him in for a particularly good reason, did they? It's not like they've made loads of good use of Dorin, so we were going to brush it under the carpet, the fact that he should be collected by now. It's just nothing. It's
He hasn't even had his little foot run over by Tyrone in a wheelchair.
No.
He hasn't even reacted to the fact that Tyrone is in a wheelchair.
He did go missing during a game of hide and seek at one point last year.
But can you imagine how it would have been a really fascinating story if he had been scared of the fact that Tyrone's in a wheelchair, and Tyrone's is real, his dad, and he's the one who he cares about the most, and suddenly he feels alienated, and what is everyone going to do?
I think that they just think we can't put Dorin in scenes because he won't shut up. That's his little cotton socks.
I don't know. I think they thought we've got to get him in because he's cute and no one will care if however we do it.
I don't know what they're doing with Dorin. I love that he's here, but
you know how
give over.
A lot of these stories,
he would be back home by now.
A lot of these stories feel like they were told to us by a compulsive liar. You could have come up with something better than his flat was flooded in Romania. It could have been like Alina said, "Oh, I'm being chased by the criminals again," or
yeah, well, why not? Why not make
or like I'm going to study for 3 years in Romania, and I think you should look after anything.
Well, I think we're just assuming that Alina's going to drop dead at some point.
Yeah,
but
I know.
She's been stubbornly clinging on to life.
She could have died.
So it doesn't make sense. It makes no sense. Any other ones? I mean, I've got a huge long list here. Do any of these ones stand out to you?
Mick escaping from the prison and deciding that he wanted to go and rampage in a school.
I think just the fact that he escaped was quite a good give over, wasn't it?
What was he trying to achieve though? Like, I forgot to get my GCSEs.
I think it wasn't. Did he want revenge?
He was going back to He was going to get the. He was going to get.
Oh yeah, they were going to have an escape, weren't they? He was going to take Lou and the girls and disappear away somewhere.
And he just got into the school because they've got no security measures whatsoever.
Yeah, the receptionists probably kicking themselves after.
Well, what can you do?
I think that's a strong contender for sure. I'm going to throw into the mix. I'm going to say the fact that Carl, not once but twice in a year, managed to end up in some footage that was taken, not of him, but he was in there for storyline purposes. That's quite a give over, you know. If it happens to you once, that's just bad luck. But twice, give over. And I'm talking about the fact, A, that Carl was in this drone footage that Liam took. And I know that the fallout of that was in 2026 with Corrie, but we did see the footage in 2025. And then also that bum crack photo that Hope took of Tyrone. And Carl and Abby were in a car in the background. And I think that as something to move the plot on, and the pure coincidence that in both of these bits of footage he was there, I'm going to say a big old give over to that one.
I also think that the Weatherfield Community Centre needs to do some kind of IT skills course, and Bernie needs to teach it, because she seems to be the only person who can do really quickly a presentation that throws somebody under the bus.
Yes, Naomi the Massive Racist.
And I know, again, we're going into 2026 with Kevin just deleting, I'm going to show you a video. I've just deleted everything, including the entire project, off of this dongle that I've got. But yeah, Bernie just managing to out Naomi as a massive racist during the presentation.
I think that's probably more low key than some of the other ones, but you're right. I think actually quite a strong one was that when Mick and Lou appeared on the street, that was January maybe. It took a good few months for him to cross paths with Kid. Despite the fact that we couldn't get Kit off our screens during this time. He's a big main new character. And these two had known each other when they were younger. And yet they interacted not one bit.
Yeah, and
not
their
a speck until it was important that it came up just before the flashback episode.
It wasn't just that they knew each other. It was that they had a really intertwined backstory that kind of led to them having completely different lives, and it was like the most important moment of their lives that they shared together, and it was like one of them went on to success and then one of them went to failure, and all of that just for these two characters that then managed to not see each other for months.
I know another one, and I know this is a bugbear for you, when characters have operations, then they're skipping down the street within 5 minutes. So this year we had Rob, after he got his kidney out, he was, surprisingly sprightly after that. And even, actually, did we give a give over to the stair fall? Because that was just a ridiculous moment of the year, wasn't it? That was absolutely pathetic. But also when Dee Dee had her cesarean, she was up and about really quickly, which I don't believe is the truth. And I know that sticks with you, having experienced pure pain and after your appendix
being carved up
extraction. Yeah, I think Rob's stairfall just on its own.
What about Carla being held hostage twice in a year and just not really bringing it up?
She's just got one of these kidnappable faces. I don't know. Yeah.
What can we do?
Is it Becky, or is Becky just too big for even this?
Is it too broad of a topic? Would we have to pick something specific?
No, I don't think so. I think we could say the Becky saga in general is a bit of a give over. But I think that as part of that, they tried to offer explanations for bits of it. They did.
They didn't.
They did.
They didn't.
They did. Okay. I think that there were bits where she and Costello would meet up in a ginnel somewhere, and then there would be the tiny bit of lore dump.
No, wouldn't. She'd just go, I'm going to beat up your wife. And he'd be like, go on then, she's ugly, I don't care.
Oh, what happened with his
Just
kid?
leave my kid alone.
Costello's kid appearing in, 2-3 episodes? That was a build up to now, wasn't it?
I know, and like the house... And the Photoshop picture of them in front of the house, and the what 3 words that led Carla to discover what a really nice cupboard that she could sit in. Actually, I'm going to revise that. Carla was kind of kidnapped 3 times because she got kidnapped by Rob and held hostage. Then she got kidnapped by Becky and stuck in a cupboard. Then she got kidnapped by Becky and stuck in a boot. Then she got kidnapped by Becky and stuck in a shipping container.
That's all same kidnapper. That doesn't count. If there wasn't Becky, what would be your, what are you feeling towards?
No, you tell me what you reckon.
No, I ask you.
I literally cannot think beyond it.
I think that the Doran one is a really strong contender for
I think
this.
The thing about Doran is that it keeps cropping up again, and you keep remembering and going, yeah, what is going on with that? Yeah,
and it's not like, I'm sure they'll explain it at some point. It's like, this is utterly inexplicable.
Yeah.
It hasn't been mentioned yet. You can't go back unless they're saying...
No, Alina's
been in contact with us on a regular basis in the past 12 months.
Alina is a compulsive liar.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you want to...
You tell me.
No.
If I can't have Becky...
Oh. No, I can let you have Becky. Maybe some people are saying, of course it's Becky. Why are you even considering the rest of it? Oh. And Becky was such a big storyline with such a big suspension of disbelief.
It's not that it was an extraordinarily audacious idea. It was that they just didn't bother explaining how it worked.
It was quite an audacious idea, to be fair.
It was... And again, I still enjoyed like 90% of it, but it does feel a bit like watching a magician do a trick, and you're not supposed to ask how it was done. Yeah. You're just supposed to be glad that, he pulled a dove out his arse. You're not supposed to be like, but how did the bird not suffocate?
Let's give it to the Becky storyline. Becky's brought from the dead and goes through various credulity stretching plot twists over the course of the next 4 months. Love it all over there. Becky back from the dead. All right, that gets the Give Over award for this year.
It's got to be. It can't be anything else.
No, that's fine. What's up next?
You daft Apith.
You daft Apith. This is the award where there's not a world away from Give Over, to be honest, but this is where we're just giving somebody a tap over the head with a rolled up newspaper for being a bit of a plonker with a decision that they made this year.
Yeah, this is like, no one would do this. This is silly, or this is incredibly out of character for you.
Yeah.
Or like a human being, given the vast multitudes of opportunities and free will of the universe that we exist in, would not in a million different iterations of life ever pick this particular course of action.
No, but they did it because
soap
is built on people making stupid decisions and having to face the consequences of it. I'm going to say quite strong contender for me is David arranging for his own hit and run.
It's such a drama queen.
Yeah,
that was
I'm sure there were other ways that he could have ended that story without trying to kill himself.
And it's such a big shame too, because the concept of the episode and him counting down, I'm going to die, I'm talking to myself, that was really great. But the whole concept of why was like, are you cracked?
It's because as well, it came off of months of them being hounded by these mysterious, invisible goons that we had no kind of feeling about because we never saw them. I think also, fairly strong contender is same story, Mac setting the house on fire.
Yeah.
Because
I panicked. I didn't know what to do.
Because why? He'd heard David talking about insurance, getting the insurance money. To actually set your house on fire, which could have then spread to the next door neighbours and killed off Yasmin, which would have been a much more exciting ending.
I know, we thought that's where it was going. He also didn't think that the reason you get given money when your house burns down is so you could build a new house, not to pay off gangsters.
Yeah. So that's quite a strong contender for me. What else we got? Any others?
When Lisa was like, "Oh, Rob's dead now." No, he's not. I just can't find a pulse to save anyone's life. Oh
yes, that was a rookie mistake, wasn't it? After he'd had his balcony fall, and she said, she missed the pulse there, just so he could go off and have a go on the run, and then they'd take a siege. Yeah, that was pretty ridiculous.
And then she just left him like, oh, he's dead now. I'll just leave the corpse here.
Yeah.
I don't like looking at dead bodies. Let's go.
Yeah. Also, David becoming a getaway driver. I just keep going back to the Platts and the series of ridiculous decisions that they made last year, just because of these faceless gangsters.
But see the difference in how well that worked compared to just David and Shona have a baby, an unborn baby who has medical difficulties, and there's a danger involved in the pregnancy. That is so human and simple and harrowing, and it was such a great showcase of the actors' talent and building them together as a strong couple. Whereas the beginning of the year felt like a sort of panicked attempt to make the Platts relevant by chucking a bunch of soap headlines at them.
And the fire, it just didn't work for me.
No,
it was over too quickly.
Yeah, it was.
It was too CGI.
It should have been a whole week.
It was, we've had much better fires than that in Coronation Street, and if you're going to redo a stunt, comparisons to other ones are inevitable.
Yeah.
And I didn't hate the idea of the one shot through the fire, but it was unfortunately it didn't work for me. Who else made a stupid decision this year? I mean, most years Alia's going to do something silly, isn't she? And I think last year when she got all affronted by the fact that the firm that she worked for
had to defend criminals, had a defence lawyer.
Yeah.
No, I only defend the innocent.
Yeah, well, I think didn't she quit Fabian's because she was asked to defend somebody who was accused of coercive control, and that made her a bit sad and remember Jeff. What do you think you're signing up for here, love?
When you're in a jury, you get to say, I should be recused because this crime has got a personal... But when you're just doing paperwork... It's not like she was trying the case, is it? It's not like she was the lead. She isn't trained properly.
Yeah, I think that was a bit of a silly move. I don't think it was right up there compared to some of the others.
It is a very Alia thing to do.
What What about when Ardy and that lot decided to take drugs at his party?
No, because
drugs are bad.
Summer's taken loads of drugs.
Only losers do drugs.
You've forgotten that Summer's a hardened drug taker.
I think it was just the fact that Ardy, didn't he kind of beat up and throw Brody out of his party because he brought that LSD there, and he was like, oh, actually.
Free LSD,
yeah. I think that was a bit of a stupid move, and he certainly lived to regret it, because that was the beginning of the end for poor Ardy, wasn't it?
I think maybe Ardy ordering, like, pallets and pallets of brandy and then acting as though he had to sell it all that day was a bit of a daft ape thing to do.
What about when Sarah locked that bloke, Eli, in the factory office and got her boobs out for him?
I need to catch a plane. No, look at these.
That was stupid, and the factory certainly paid for that, didn't it?
Yeah, but that didn't go anywhere. That's another, like, off to nothing.
Yeah. That came up again later in the year when Eli, I can't remember what he did. He got a Carla arrested or something, and they thought it was Becky.
Yeah, but it's the whole like, oh, there's an insurmountable business challenge at the business factory. What should we do? Oh, let's work overtime. Solved it.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna throw another one into the ring. Another apith of a character, which is George. You know, we love him, but he's made a few stupid moves this year. Number one, proposing to Eileen at Julie's wake. Like,
romantic.
Choose your moments, man. But I think one of the dumbest moments of the year, and one of my most loathed shots of Coronation Street in 2025 was him with his embalming tongs, all tied up with. We think that. Why did they do it? We think that Eileen's being accused of having drugged Julie, so our best thing to do is embalm her to hide the evidence, and
with no consequences.
It was just a bit silly, and the whole thing with Julie's coming back, isn't it brilliant? Haha, surprise, she's got cancer. That did leave a bad taste in my mouth, but at least there were some lovely scenes with her. But they just, I didn't think they quite got the tone of it right, and having George there in his silly, Dr. Death outfit didn't work for me. Brian
reporting Eileen for assisted suicide for Julie. That whole part of it.
That did. That very much seemed like would Brian do this? No, that was super out of character, and I think it was just there for added drama and intrigue. And oh no, is Eileen going to get arrested? That was a bit of a silly storyline, but yeah, it comes down to Brian making that silly decision to report her.
I think we've gone through a lot of it, haven't we? I think Jenny and Daisy feuding with each other, and a lot of it hinging on somebody not choosing to share a key piece of information.
Well, I'm going to say mostly Jenny. Sorry, when she got those investments from Greg. And didn't tell Daisy about it. That was the beginning of the end for her. And 6 months later, she ain't in the pub anymore, is she? So that was a bit of a stupid thing to do.
I really don't know what to do about this, because I don't feel strongly about any of these.
I'm feeling most strongly. I keep going back to the things that are going on with the Platts.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think maybe the one that kind of bamboozles me is David going, well, I guess I better just run in front of a car. And I'm not going to just run in front of a car. I'm going to arrange to be murdered by somebody who is willing to go along with it.
Yeah, and that stupid decision led to Daisy miscarrying.
Yeah.
So, she's lost a baby, David. You daft apith.
Yeah, you daft apith. You didn't think that would happen, did you?
No.
But it does go to show that Max thinking that he could just burn the house down and solve the problems.
That's really, really strong.
Came from a place of extreme. It's not genetic stupidity, but there's something in the water.
Something in the water at number 8. It's just some fumes coming out of that sinkhole, Gemma, that's making them.
It might be
making them do stupid things. Yeah. Well, I don't want to be generic and give it to the Platts in general, because we kind of have done that with some of the other ones, like the saying Becky, but. Yeah, I'll go with David arranging his own hit and run.
I think it adds it to me. It makes it worse that they use such a cool storytelling device to tell such a feeble-minded story. And I'm sorry to say that it was feeble-minded, because nobody in their right mind would.
No. Especially with a character as kind of strong-willed as David.
Yes.
He's not a giver-upper.
No, and also somebody that we knew would not die.
And you know,
nobody's watching it going, oh gosh, is it the end of Jack P. Shepherd?
Yeah, so he did it to get life insurance, didn't he? That was the plan, but
it's just a repeat of the story that happened with Max.
I don't think it works like that.
Or whenever.
Okay, well there you go, David. You're Daft Apith. Still love you. Still one of my favourites, but that's got our award for this year. What's next?
Character assassination for people that acted completely out of character in a way that kind of made us tut.
Yeah. Characters who we thought kind of less of, or characters who changed one way. I mean, I would say that, you know, you might argue the case that Christina got character assassinated this year because, you know, if you loved the scheming, manipulative, horrible, uncaring Christina, she was a really uncaring person, wasn't she? She came in as Daisy's mum, like, yeah, you know what, I didn't want you as a daughter, I never really felt that much love for you. And now she's one of the most lovey-dovey, fantastic, sympathetic characters of the street. So
it's funny, it really is funny because it feels as though we're seeing what Christina has always, like, this is what she should have been from the start. This is what happened with Evelyn when they finally worked out how to write for her, and I still think they're floundering with Lauren to do the same thing, because they're like, right, this character had a personality that was based on a storyline, so we had to have Christina be a manipulative, scheming cow. We had to have Lauren be this kind of like really mardy, sad, tragic figure, you know. But now we want to keep the actor because they're really great and people like this character. There's so much potential, but we can't have their personality remain the same because it's just too problematic. So what do we do?
I mean, I'm not complaining at all with what they're doing with Christina. I am so thrilled.
I love it.
I love that they've kept Amy Robbins on. That was one of the best Corrie news this year when we found out that she'd been given a permanent contract. Absolutely love it. And she's, as we said many times before, really giving a kick up the bum to George as a character as well. So, but that's not a character assassination, is it?
I think a lot of people are going to say that Lisa really got shafted by the Becky storyline, because if it wasn't supposed to be a story about coercive control and abuse, which is what a lot of Swallow fans...
We're not arguing that here.
We're not talking about that. So a lot of Swallow fans were hoping that she was being manipulated in an incredibly deep and Machiavellian way by Becky, and it was psychological, you know, torture. But actually, they weren't going down that route with the story. You can read into it that if you want to, but the evidence is not... It's
not as cut and dry as
it's very broad.
Should be, if that's what they want.
Exactly. You shouldn't be able to argue against it if that's what their intention was. Okay, yeah. I think that everyone could agree on that, at least.
I think in many ways.
So therefore, Lisa wasn't being manipulated. She was just making really bad decisions.
Yeah, I mean, you might say a bit of a Daft Apith as well, like letting Becky hang around the flat quite so much when Carla was in Ireland. You know that she lied because she's told you that she lied. The reasons that she told you that she lied, maybe you believe it or don't, but you know that you've got somebody who's just been deceptive, and you've got your partner, your current partner, who's going, I'm not okay with this. I really would prefer it if she wasn't around. And you're like... Yeah. And as a character who came in as being very much switched on.
Like a cold-blooded, logical, smart, like, detective.
They just knocked off a few of those hard cop edges with Lisa this year, haven't they?
And I know that...
To her detriment.
And I know that, again, you can argue many things with Lisa, and you can there's definitely sympathetic readings of this character where you explain why, and I totally understand that too. I think that not enough time was really given to considering the true emotional turmoil and confusion that she was going through. But that's still a part of the character assassination. Yeah, I think so. I think that she's a fairly strong contender,
and
it's sad because I really liked her. And I wish that they'd addressed some of the things that came up.
Well, even at the end of at the beginning of this year, despite everything that she'd done, they just kind of said, anyway, her and Carla are back together now.
I know.
But that is not for this year. I'm going to throw Abby's hat into the ring here.
I think that you're going to make this one win because you are absolutely, like, not inviting her for Christmas now,
I think I care more that... I am disappointed in Abby's character development in 2025 than Lisa, because I was a much bigger Abby fan than I ever was a Lisa Swain fan.
Well, let's just say that Abby had a character arc that led her to being a hero. She started off as a drug addict who was
bad mum,
really
druggy,
bad, like very, very selfish, very troubled. She went through so much. She really did pull herself out of the depths of despair. She even had an affair storyline with Imran and managed to come out of that like still with a bit of character intact. And
she was still a hero at the beginning of the year, because when Mason was stabbed, she was the one that was there.
She runs into burning buildings.
Yeah.
She saves people. And that's why you really, I like her too. But that's one of the things. It's not
this year.
Lisa didn't have that kind of arc of starting low and going high. She started high. Lisa came in as a hero. Abby had to build her way up to it.
She was never as heroic in my mind as.
Well, I'm
as
just
Abby
saying.
was.
I'm just explaining the arc
for me
of
personally,
Abby and why you're so invested in being mad.
Having her, I wasn't loving all the haunting stuff and the PTSD, and I know that Sally Carman would and did absolutely knock it out of the park with the performance there, but it was just a bit miserable. And then you had, obviously, the affair and her falling for Carl when Kevin hadn't really given her that much reason to go off of him. I know he was a little bit paranoid about the state of their relationship, but her kind of pussyfooting around him and then brazenly doing it, I just... And hooking up with such a sleazeball as Carl, it just didn't work for me. And she didn't have any of those big heroic scenes. She didn't have as many of the fun moments. She was a dramatic character, and one that Kevin was rightly knocked off with.
I think one of the things also about Abby is that she's always felt like a very practical woman who, like, led with her. She definitely felt deep emotions, but she felt like she was a bit more sensible and logical and practical. She's a practical woman. And so to have her head turned by a man who has nothing to offer her and no plans, and the fact that she had a kid as well,
and the fact that she found out that he was doing all the dodgy MOT stuff, and she's like, well, go on then, it's like
she shouldn't have ignored the lack of planning. Like she's somebody who really has to plan stuff now. She recognises, having gone through like recovery and therapy and getting over being an addict, you can't just wing your way through life. You have to, like, consciously every day you have to make a decision. I am not going to drink. I'm not going to take drugs. Today is a day where I'm going to continue my pledge to maintain my life as like not chaotic. I'm going to make good choices. And it's such a really difficult thing to do, and the fact that she kind of went through this affair with Carl without slipping into the alcoholism or the drugs or anything is kind of admirable on one hand, but also doesn't make a lot of sense, because she's using her brain for some parts, but she's not using it for others. Like, how could you sit there and go, I'm going to make a conscious decision to continue my pledge to maintain my life for my kid, but I'm also going to blow it up by hanging out with this criminal? Yeah. It's kind of like, how did she... It's very, very strange.
And I'm hoping that, we've seen so far this year, she's obviously found out about what a sleazebag Carl is. She had that lovely scene up on the roof with Kevin. I think that they're already making good headway into redeeming her in my eyes. Oh, I will 100%. I'm desperate to forgive her.
Well, I don't think she's going to do anything else.
She was a real massive character assassination for me, sadly. A couple of other names that I would like to bring to the table. Could say it to Jenny, because of just how devious she was with the money, and I was like, come on, Jenny. But then in some ways it is part of her character. She always has been a little bit selfish.
She's always put money before family.
But she was accused of being a gold digger when she was marrying Johnny, and I think love
that's why it's sad
to her there.
That's why it's sad. But was it a character assassination, or was it just revealing her true nature?
Maybe. Even like the bit where she, and I love this moment obviously, where she told Daisy that she has always harboured this resentment for her for Tom's death. It's like, oh, Jenny, come on. Why'd you have to tell her that? That's a bit mean.
Yeah, but you wanted that to happen.
I know, I wanted to.
It's your own fault.
Ardy got a bit of a character assassination towards the end there, and it wasn't a massive, huge change of character that meant he left in disgrace. It looked like it could have been going that way, but by having him... Go on. I was going to say, by having him take the drugs, by having him kind of string Lauren along and make it out that it looked like he was the only... Or make her think that he was only stringing her along... I don't know what I'm saying. Made it look...
What are you trying to say?
I've lost the power of speech. He made her think he was really interested in her, but really he was just saving his own skin because he didn't want her to find out that he'd spiked her or not spiked her, because it wasn't a spiking.
I know that I'm super obsessed with Peep Show, but I think that Ardy revealed himself to be a bit of a mark here. Because when you first start watching Peep Show, you think that Mark is just like a helpless nerd who is super good and cares about his job. But the longer you watch the show, you realise he doesn't actually know what the hell he's doing. And Ardy had that moment where he was talking about pivot tables and spreadsheets, and and all the way through you thought, okay, he's got poor people skills and a lack of experience, but he actually got a business head on him. But then he kind of went completely insane the moment he got left alone by Dev to look after the shop. Failed utterly, just like Mark did when he was in the, trying to do that business presentation for what's his face.
Yeah.
And just ruined his life because he overestimated his business skills.
Yeah. I think he kind of went from being a bit of an idiot, a lovable idiot, to a bit of an idiot in some ways this year. It wasn't huge last year. It wasn't huge enough for me to seriously
it's not like
make him a contender here against some of the others. But it was a shame that they did blot his copybook a little bit before they went.
Yeah,
and even having that bit where he slept with Amy and then he was calling Lauren needy afterwards. Do you remember?
Yeah, that was bad.
And that was... But I kind of argued, and I still agree, that sometimes... I thought that he was the sort of person who would let his mouth run away with him and not realise. I don't think that meant that he was cruel or misogynistic or anything. But
we had a big discussion about the meaning of those words are different depending on
I don't think
your
he
experience in life, and that there are definitely some men who that is a massive red flag.
Yeah, I don't think it was for that.
Maybe Ardy unfortunately parroted something that had a deeper meaning than he intended.
Does Rob maybe deserve
well, you thought so,
consideration?
definitely. I remember you...
I just remember he wasn't quite so out and out villainous when he was in the show before.
He had a bit more depth.
Yeah, he did. And lots of people said that they ruined him by making him Tina's killer, and it's absolutely 100% fair to say that he and Tracy are an absolute dynamite couple, and to blow them up over him pushing Tina off a balcony and bludgeoning her with a pipe, it was a bit of a ruiner for him then. But this year, I mean, you could maybe you would say that prison would do that to you, which is why I'm a little bit more lenient against what they decided to do with him.
At least
he's been sitting there seething for years.
Let me explain why he's changed. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Whereas a lot of these a lot of the other ones are just like, I don't know.
So really, it does seem to be between Lisa and Abby here, doesn't it?
Yeah. Now I know that there are people for whom Lisa is the only answer.
Yeah, but other people would say, well, no, they didn't assassinate Lisa. She was manipulated. She acted completely the way that you would do were you to be manipulated.
Yeah.
Can we say
Abby
Abby
is
just
far
because
less the problematic option, just because anyone who's watched her in the previous years could have said, I can see a clear departure from her previous
making too many stupid decisions.
And it doesn't make sense.
And this is a Conversation Street award, and we are big Abby fans. So okay, I'm going to move swiftly on while you seem to be going towards Abby there as the winner for that one.
How many
we have got 2 categories left now. We are onto our penultimate award, and this doesn't build up into anything big whatsoever like the main awards do. It's just whatever order they happen to be in my document here. Oh. But we are going to start.
We shouldn't have done it this way, then, should we?
What would you have led up to? There doesn't seem to be like a
the stupidest storyline.
The Give Over award, maybe. Okay, well, look, this is the Rovers.
I wish I'd looked at this better. Sorry.
Well, I did send it to you.
You didn't send it. You sent it to me in a different order because I just checked.
Okay, No. I put
Yes, you did.
I put it in a slightly different order. I put the
yeah.
I put the new award.
You put it in a completely different order.
It was not. I put
It
one. I
is.
moved one award.
No, it didn't, because you got Back of the Taxi's the final one.
Yeah,
then.
that's what I said. Back in the Taxi is the only one that I have changed.
No, because
here.
all right.
Anyway, look. What do you want to do? Do you want to do?
Right, we've got 2 awards left.
Let's do the Rovers Rubbish Return Award. So whose return to Coronation Street?
No, I think we should do that one last.
Okay.
Because that's quite a strong discussion. We've got
right.
Weatherfield Wayfarer, which is where somebody just, like, I don't even know why they do this anymore, because...
But I don't think they do it as much. I don't think we've got as strong nominees this year as we've had previous years.
It's where they go, this character's leaving. You might not have noticed that they had left if we hadn't mentioned it, because everybody leaves for no reason. But they're going away and they'll come back later.
And I think Weatherfield Wayfarer in the past has always been like, what's the most ridiculous reason they've given for a character leaving when they really didn't need to? Like that time after Coronation Street when Roy went off to Peru for a month or so. Like, you could have just not had Roy on screen. Why did you have to make a big deal of him going somewhere? I don't think there were very many choices with this one. I mean, you got Evelyn going off to university, which was explaining Maureen Littman's temporary, fingers crossed, on-off absence. Is it ridiculous to say? But I would say it's fairly ridiculous to say 1 minute she's just evening it up in the Rovers, and then the next she's saying, "Hey, I understand legal paperwork. Hey, I should become a lawyer." Literally, she had a very speedy exit that just wasn't a proper exit, didn't she? It came very, very quickly.
An exit.
No, it wasn't. It was a I'm not going to be on the show for a little bit. Her deciding out of pretty much nowhere she could be a lawyer actually. That to me is quite a strong contender for Weatherfield Wayfarer. I just don't know whether it particularly counts. I don't know. We also had
the biggest one for me was when Bernie went, great wedding, Dev, but I have booked a honeymoon
I know what you mean.
to go to
Stonehenge
by myself.
That to me,
I know that
in the grand tradition of Weatherfield Wayfarer Awards that have been going for at least 3 or 4 years on our podcast, that to me stands out the most like a sore thumb. Like, why did she go on honeymoon without him? And was it just because she wasn't really needed during that part of the Asher story?
Was it because...
Why would she go? It makes no sense.
It feels like the actress was off on holiday and they were like, why wouldn't she be doing X, Y and Z?
Yeah. The story could have worked with her still in Weatherfield. It couldn't have worked without Dev, so they had to engineer this ridiculous scenario where and it wasn't just, I'm going to go there for the weekend.
No, she went
for
weeks.
It felt like 2 or 3 weeks that she was there.
Yeah,
is there really that much to do in Stonehenge for a few weeks?
Love it. Yeah.
I mean, I could spend an afternoon there maybe, but no more than that. I think that really does count as a very, very strong contender. I mean, you've got things like Bethany being headhunted by a magazine, which led to her temporary departure for Lucy Fallon's maternity leave, which is just a bit silly, really, isn't it? Carla going to Ireland for a little bit.
Carla going to Ireland at a really crucial point in the relationship that then gave Becky a great...
Yeah, she knew that Becky was sniffing around and she decided, no, I will go to Ireland for this. What was it? Was it a funeral or something? And it wasn't just popping over. She was away for a few weeks.
With her really important Irish family that she loves loads and loads.
We had...
she hasn't spoken to for years.
We had Dev disappear for quite a while at the beginning of the year, didn't we? Which was Jimmy Harkishin saying, "Hey, I've been in Corrie for 20 years now. I think I'm going to have some time out."
He's just like...
He does it every now and then, doesn't he?
But the thing is, you might notice that there are characters that haven't been in the show now for a few months, who might not be in it for another few months, who haven't had an explanation as to why they're not in it. And I'm not going to say who it is, but there are a few. And
that's probably for the best.
But they haven't gone, well... See you tomorrow, maybe, but I guess you'll be busy with all the things you're doing.
Mm.
Like when Chesney went to sell kebabs at a festival in London at Easter. Where is he now?
Yeah, they didn't need to mention that.
You don't need to submit your holiday request because I don't know you were there in the first place.
Just hand wave it away and say he's upstairs listening to his tapes, and then we don't need to say any more about it.
Yeah.
I think it's Bernie and the honeymoon, isn't it? I don't think there's really enough competition from any of the other nominees here.
they're all fairly tame this year.
They are. There's been
I really genuinely think
this just
that
baffled
Coronation
me.
Street needs to just not bother telling us where somebody's gone.
Yeah, I want to be able to retire this award because Corrie don't do it anymore.
It's like, oh, what's that? It's a phone call. You can't make it to my wedding.
It is.
Character that hasn't been in it for 20 years. Oh, understandable.
Yeah, just don't mention it. Don't
don't
draw
bring it up,
attention
it's
to
pointless.
yourself, Corrie. Okay, well let's finish with the Rovers Rubbish Return Award then. Where, well, I mean, that's what it says on the tin, really, doesn't it? Whose return to Coronation Street in 2025 didn't match the hype that we were hoping for. Just didn't do a good job. Was the character not as much as fun as we'd remembered them? They had changed personality too much.
Well, we had loads of returns.
There's always quite a few. But a lot of them, to me, were fairly minor, low-key ones. I mean, the biggest return last year was Eva. And the bigger the return, the more they've got to live up to your expectations, especially for a character as strong as Eva. And, you know, I loved her. I thought Catherine Tilsley's such a fun actress. And I remember being so excited when I heard that Eva was coming back. But I can't still, you know, 4 months later, shake that lingering feeling that they haven't done enough with her. They've not lent into what makes Eva Eva. She could be anybody.
Well, also the Driscolls
could be absolutely anybody.
Yeah, could have come without Eva.
Yeah, it makes.
Does it make a
they
difference?
paid lip service to her, Toya and Leanne's relationship on the first episode, where she magically waved her wand and stopped that feud, which is another give over, I might say. But it's not a rubbish return. I'm still happy that she's here. I'm just a little bit disappointed that she's not been in the spotlight as much as she could.
I can see the argument is that you don't need to do anything to establish her, but you've got to establish the other characters, so she can't have as much screen time.
Yeah. The Driscolls, she's been like the bottom of the part, well, apart from Molly, I suppose, and Susie. But does Susie get a Rover's Rubbish return because she's a little bit...
No, because she was a bait, you know.
Yeah, no, she doesn't count at all.
I
mean...
I think I'm surprised that you're not coming out the gate with Julie, because you were so happy when Julie was announced.
Both were.
But then when you found out she was going to die, you were furious.
I was fuming.
Furious.
But I really loved watching her, and even though the trajectory that the storyline was on, i.e. her imminent demise, was very disappointing, I loved the moments that she was on scene. I loved screen. I loved her rekindling of the romance with Brian, as tragic as it was. I loved her fashion. I loved the advice that she was giving to Todd about Theo, as ill-advised as it was. I loved the scene where she opened up the money from Daisy and Daisy's dramatic flit to Barley. I really loved what little we had, so I couldn't hand on heart say that was a rubbish return. I would be more leaning towards somebody like Gail wasn't great at Christmas, but it wasn't really a return, it was more of a cameo, wasn't it? Not Jason, he was quite fun. I would say James. James is a rubbish return, isn't it? It's pointless. He had a few moments, you know, his biggest moment in 2025 was that reveal that he's been up to all sorts with Carl in bed in Chariot Square, but nobody was asking for James to come back, and nobody's that thrilled that he is back, and he's just not really done much, and I don't think that they've done enough to say, hey, here's why James is back, here's why it's great that he's back.
I agree with that. But
he was always a bit of a flub of a character, wasn't he? He was a nice kid, but you know, he was harmless and just a bit, James.
He's a bit wet.
And he was a bit wet. And sensitive. Lovely. I mean, I'm also a bit wet. One might suggest.
You would definitely collapse dead if you tried to play football.
I tried to play football.
But you weren't trying to be a professional football player.
This could have been the opportunity to say, he's back, all new James. And he is different.
Yeah, he is.
He's nothing like the old James, but he's equally not as exciting. I don't find him engaging in the slightest. I'm really sorry, Jason Calendar.
Oh my God. Look, I like James because he strengthens the Bailey boys, and
Does he really?
Yes, he does.
Or does he just add to them?
Yeah. Both. I like the idea of them being a strong family unit of just all men.
I thought that there was glimmers of something exciting for James when Dee Dee was going to have that secret christening. Do you remember? But then that was over and done with within an episode or two. James finds out about it.
I would really like to get more into why James is so anti-religion. What, you know, because obviously it's to do with, you know, his background of feeling rejected because he could never tell his dad he was gay, and then when he did, his dad didn't like it because he harboured these beliefs, even though his mum didn't, and they were both religious to a certain extent.
To a little extent, to some extent.
But it just feels like a real unspoken opportunity to have some kind of conversation between James and Theo and Todd, maybe just James and Todd, about religion and homosexuality and shame, and the fact that Theo's gone through conversion therapy and James is rejecting religion, and Todd's never liked it, but maybe there's something to it that, because of Billy, I don't know, that like it's such a shame that Billy's dead, because he might have been able to have this conversation with these characters. Yeah. Not that I think that it's really important that gay people accept religion. Of course, it's just an interesting way of the story to develop. It's just an interesting conversation that these characters could have, that real people have in their real lives, that I don't think we've seen on Coronation Street.
Yeah, no, you're right, I agree. To get the Rovers Rubbish Return Award, do you have to be excited about it and then let down? Because nobody was excited about James coming back, were they?
That's rude.
So then it wasn't as big a letdown as if it were a big character that just didn't live up to our expectations. Because you could say that Rob, when we found out, we were in the room at that press day a year and a half ago when it was announced, hey, Rob Donovan's coming back, and it was like
but it wasn't a terrible return.
It wasn't a terrible return. It was a real mixed bag. It had the stupid flip over the stairwell. It had him not being as layered as he had been. I wouldn't say it was rubbish. I still kind of enjoyed it, but I maybe wanted a little bit more. I did like how they had a few scenes with him and Tracy, and like Tracy smuggling him into the house.
Yeah.
Doran was a bit of a rubbish return, wasn't he? As I say, but I don't know what I was expecting for Doran. No, what was I expecting for Doran? More scenes of him wittering on. Yeah, interjections, and we didn't get that, but that's fine at the end of the day. Seb's ghostly return was a bit pants, wasn't it? Let's be honest. Because at that stage we had seen a fair number of Corrie ghosts, and it was just like, what, another one?
And it wasn't even done in a different way, like...
No,
it was just another ghost.
It was a PTSD ghost. They did have him at one point where he was like, Abby was picturing Mason bleeding out, and then they looked and it was Seb's face. It was slightly different, but I don't feel... Like, some years there were just some like, this is really naff. Why did they had wasted potential here, and I wouldn't say none of this is offensively wasted potential. So I would say that James should probably get this one.
Oh, I feel bad for James.
Do you?
I do really want to like him. I do. Is
there going to be a but at the end of this, or? I never want to dislike any characters. I want to love them all. I if there was if this was a show where all characters were A or even S rank, brilliant. But James has been in it nearly a year now, and I'm still very blah about him, unfortunately.
Do you think that James and Todd will end up together? It's just, the thing is that they're...
It seems like too much of an age gap, but I suppose he was with Billy.
There are a limited number of gay characters, and Coronation Street wants people to be together in relationships. So if he's not going to date Todd, then he's got to get out. You know what I mean?
I would really love Todd and Sean to get back together.
I cannot see. James putting up with Sean.
No,
that would not work whatsoever.
I think it's really sad how Sean has not been allowed a decent long term. I mean, we had Marcus the closest, didn't we?
It's funny because like there is this kind of unspoken rule on Coronation Street that you have to be in a relationship if you want screen time, and Sean definitely demonstrates that, because where is he? But
even though he's working at two places,
and I'm not the kind of person who's like, you have to justify yourself by being in a relationship. Otherwise, I don't think that, but I know that Corrie does. So
sometimes. What are we going for, Gemma?
I'm gonna let you.
I'm pushing for James. I'm sorry, I'm pushing for James. They could have used this as an opportunity to springboard them off into an exciting new direction.
I think the funny thing is that he is so radically different from the previous iteration of James, but for no purpose.
I would have almost liked for him to be a little bit more, Jerry Boothish as the old James was, a bit soppy and a bit. I can't see the old James having sneaky.
No.
Chariot Square sex with Carl.
No.
I can't see the old James having fights with Dee Dee over
a baby,
and parentage,
and also scurrying up to Theo when he comes around to threaten him because they had that
I can't see the old James doing that. But I mean, I did one thing I did really like. So I don't want this to be a total hate on James. I like some of the scenes when he was sitting in the hospital with baby Layla and he was singing to her. That was quite sweet, actually, wasn't it?
I think he's nice.
Yeah. Well, there is always time for him to come round. But that's it. That is the end of our Bobbins Awards. I very much enjoyed getting that off my chest, and I hope it was cathartic to some of our listeners as well. But I'm sure, as always, there will be some awards where people are just waiting for us to discuss certain characters or moments or stories, and we forgot about them. If that's the case, write in and tell us. Who do you think was the most rubbish return of the year? Who was the daftest eighth, or which moment would you say, I'll give over, I can't believe Coronation Street did that, that makes no sense, that we just forgot to say? Or maybe we did talk about it and just missed it and you said, no, I think that should be the winner. I would love to hear it. So write some comments if you listen to this on YouTube. Email us in. Let us know who are your nominations for Bobbins award winners of the year, and we'll read some of them out, I'm sure.
Yeah, we will do.
We will. Right, Gemma, any final words?
No.
Gemma has no final words. It's time for us to go. We're going to have lovely chicken Kiev for tea. Can't wait. So, let's go and do it. We'll be back this time next year for more Bobbins Awards, or hopefully maybe a little bit earlier.
We will hopefully be... Well, maybe we won't have anything to complain about.
Maybe we won't. Maybe that's the dream, that we just cannot do it. But, we managed to go 2 hours, but we still love Corrie, don't we?
Yeah, of course we do.
It's great. See you next time, everybody. Ta-ra, ta-ra, goodbye.